thing just goes quiet if you actually.
I know. Look at that. Fucking silent pour. Who wants that?
Production company's going to have to invest in getting another coffee pot that actually pours proper in here.
The loudest possible coffee pour. You can donate now at patreon.com/stonerspointpod.
But, the newly added Ko-fi.
Oh yeah, Ko-fi, something. Let me see, what is our link at Ko-fi? Go to your page. Oh yeah, Ko-fi.com / or is that a backslash?
That would be forward.
/ SPP 927825. Or you can just go to ko-fi.com and search for Stoner's Point and podcasts, and you'll find us. You'll see our little logo there with the headset and the big bold words that say Stoners. Yeah, so
insinuate or broadcast anything there, but it does kind of send a message.
Yeah. I mean, at least to know to expect there's probably going to be drug use involved somewhere.
But, just because you're a fucking stoner don't mean you can't make a point.
It's true. That is true. And at this point, we are going to be picking up on our previous conversation that we abruptly ended.
Sorry.
Well, that was...
Just the thought of the previous episode.
all 3 hours and 12 minutes of it.
Bad.
And we didn't even cover all the stuff we intended to cover in that part of the episode.
Oh God.
We didn't even talk about the Russian collusion allegations, or pretty much that was the main thing we left out from that part.
We had a whole new year come in between. Did we get to the Georgia thing?
No, we have, because that was today is to that day is today, my friend. That's what we're talking about today, the 2020 election. we talked about the 2016 election and his presidency. And
yeah, we didn't make it to the Georgia thing.
We didn't, because it wasn't time for the 2020 election yet, which is its own, because we can end it at January 6th, I guess, would be a good stopping point for Trump.
I wish.
Yeah, right? I'm just saying, January 6th would be a good stopping point for Trump. Not for the podcast, but for the world.
Yes, I wish that would have been the end. Yeah, I really do. Unfortunately, it looks like this man be able to rule us all from the fucking confines of a solitary confinement prison in Guantanamo Bay.
He wanted to be, that he kept open. Not only that, according to his own wishes, waterboarding would be fine. In fact, he'd be okay going stuff worse than waterboarding, he once claimed.
Well, I mean, I can't fault him on that.
I don't know.
I can't say I'm any better on that particular subject.
My thing is
why. I mean, there's a gray area.
Right, I understand with war and whatnot. There's a gray area, but
I know that's horrible in some mindsets, and even in my own mindset.
When the Bush administration,
to think about it,
when Bush 2 administration was justifying going to war with Iraq, one of the claims was that Hussein was using torture on prisoners. Electrocuting their genitals was one thing that I heard about. We then proceeded to do the same thing. Yes, but why? How dare we condemn? That's that throwing stones in a glass house thing. We cannot embrace torture when it's us doing it and condemn everyone else doing it. That's
Well, that particular example was, we condemned them for doing it and then started doing it. So,
well, we've been doing it already.
everybody's a hypocrite.
We were doing it already, right? But it didn't really come to light. I mean, we didn't start hearing
We're
about it.
probably doing it.
Yeah, we were. Look, I mean,
I think the cops were already doing that in the 20s.
yeah, and the CIA,
Yeah.
MK Ultra. I mean, come on.
So, I mean, there's a reason for everything. In my opinion, I can justify almost everything myself. So, and I'm not the greatest in justifiers. So, but I have a hard time justifying some of this shit.
Yeah.
And if I can falter in justifying a common man for being a human, then there's a fucking problem there, folks. We need to pay attention to.
Yeah. Now we go into territory that's not just bungling and self-serving. Now we're moving into territory that's looking more and more autocratic. There seems to be more and more intent now.
But on the torture thing, I will say, at least somebody could survive waterboarding, so we could fund that, and I'd be a lot more, at ease being okay with that than I would be funding, massive bombings of, civilian populations.
I mean, why do I have to make a choice between these two options? I feel like more choices are needed.
I agree. If I've got to choose between the two, I'd much rather have waterboarding as my biggest concern of what the hell my president's okay with. Sending billions of dollars across seas to bomb fucking civilian populations. I've got a big problem with that myself, but there's nothing I can do about it.
No, we don't get to choose where our tax money goes. Believe me, I can think of some better spots.
Oh, fuck. So where did we drop the hell off?
Well, we
Fucking listen to the back end, because I don't know where we stopped
well, we were pretty much done with everything except, like, so we didn't go into the Russian collusion, but we pretty much had gone over all the, or not all of it, because we realized that was impossible. But we went kind of in depth into what some of his policies were, some of his claims were, and what kind of effect they had. So
a seamless transfer is not going to happen. We'll get as close as we can to it. But we'll give a disclaimer to the folks here. I did have a computer issue, so all of my files and shit that I had for all of my research, I do not have.
Yeah, and we have internet here.
Going on the fly here with looking up some stuff, so I'll be a little slower on the comebacks and with finding some of the information I want to talk about. But I am not going to even try to dig as deep as I did with some of these numbers, because they were extremely hard to fucking find the first 2 times I had to do it, and I don't
want to do it third. Yeah.
I don't remember where I got it. That is the problem. Being a stoner is my short-term memory is completely shot, and I don't memorize a fucking thing. Once I've had it, I've got it, and it's at the fucking my fingertips. It's just going to take time. So why do I have to memorize it? It's on the internet.
I remember narratives fairly well. And when you start drawing dots between events, then you're creating a narrative.
I get that.
Yeah, so, and that's kind of how I remember stuff, like with news and shit like that, and like stuff with Trump, is these little things will pop up. And one of the things that popped up early on that we didn't go over, that we mentioned a minute ago, was the Russian collusion scandal during his 2016 campaign. I do believe that's... And I think it's a good time to bring it up now.
Oh boy, there was a whole lot of Russia during that thing.
Yeah, and I think it's important now to start looking to talk about, because we're getting ready to talk about the next election, right? So...
Oh, that stuff's already happening.
What stuff's already happening?
Yeah, the political posts from overseas.
Oh, for this one?
Yeah.
Who are they backing now?
Yeah, they're going both out after for fucking Trump, Biden, and Nikki Haley's getting a couple of them.
Did you see where both Haley and DeSantis said they'd pardon Trump if they were elected?
Also seen where Nikki Haley really couldn't fucking bring up the topic of slavery.
Bro, I was gonna sidestep that whole thing better than she sidestepped slavery. But yeah. Since you bring it up, that was David told me about that shit, and I looked it up later, and sure enough, boy howdy, man, that was like some Fred Astaire tap dancing.
I'm telling you.
Anything but she was pushing that fucking lost cause narrative, and it wasn't really about slavery. It was about state right. To do what though?
Yeah, you're right.
What were they wanting the right to do?
You get there. Take one more step.
She couldn't even mention that slavery was bad.
Yeah, I support the idea of secession on the right that states have a right to do in their states.
And I support the right for a state to secede from the Union because I play Magic the Gathering, right? That rule is in the cards. You know, that rule is already there.
Was. It's been retconned. They retconned the fuck out of that one, bro. You ain't doing that shit no more.
Wait, doing what? I got it.
Secession.
Oh, yeah.
No.
But, on the basis of the rules that were in play at the time, sure, they had the right to say.
There was a huge but there. The reason made it, okay, you succeeded, fine, but your reasoning for it is worthy of going to war over.
Yeah.
I also support the war.
Yeah, instead of invading our own soil, we're now invading foreign territory to stop slavery.
Like I said, I can support them for wanting to succeed for whatever reasons they wanted to.
Yeah.
Don't support the reasons. I want to support the Union going to war for the reason.
I want to secede today. Sign me up. But, then I start sounding like one of those sovereign citizen guys, and
no, man. It's like that's where we get the damn the one bad apple spoils the whole fucking bunch. You can't be a fucking a sovereign citizen without fucking wanting to be some goddamn fucking redneck. You're a redneck fucking want to be fucking racist asshole.
It's not even that.
I just want to be a fucking American without them telling me what an American has to be.
Yeah, the way they do it to me is crazy. They're always like, oh, well, if you sign your name in all capital letters using green ink, it's like, what are you fucking talking about? And then well, I don't, as a sovereign citizen, I'm not subject to your laws. And it's like, well, that's not how that works. I like the idea of being, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of being able to say, no, I'm my own. My property and my person is my own, castle. I like that idea.
And I have a right to be a fucking bigot.
Sure, as long as you stay in your sovereign zone. As soon as that bigotry extends your borders, that's now foreign policy, and we got to put a stop to that.
If it affects other folks, it's a problem.
Yeah. As soon as that
and it's a problem at the level that it affects the people around me. I say this being a bigot. I am a self-admitted bigot. I know this. I'm an equal opportunity bigot, however.
I don't like anybody. Yeah.
You show me that you're worthy of my respect and my attention, then we get along just fucking fine. If you're just a mindless zombie running around, banging your head, being part of the daggone problem out there, then I've got a big problem. I don't care what you are, where you're from, nothing. It's what you do that affects other people that I have a problem with.
I'm not exactly sure that fits the definition of bigotry. That would be something more along the lines of something else, I'd think. Let me Google that. What is the definition?
Might not be.
God, I hate today's world. Definition of woke. First fucking thing that pops up. Oh, God. obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular, prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group.
Yeah. Okay. I hate humans for being human.
I hate stupid people for being part of that group of stupid people that seems to take up a mass majority.
I hate stupidity.
Right? Yeah. See, there's a difference. A bigot is a person who is generally intolerant and hateful towards people they consider different.
Well, I don't consider myself any different. I am, unfortunately, a fucking human.
Well, then that's not bigotry, right? Because that means you're not.
I'm a self-hating.
You're a deprecationist, I think. Is that a word?
I don't know. I never have been good at fitting in anywhere.
I just kind of look at it. My outlook is, like I've said before, kind of a moral pessimism. You know, human nature. While the human individual is a decent person, human nature is horrible, and we always see it at the top and the bottom. You know, is where you get to see the worst of human nature, and that seems to be able to predict the future. Like it's you know, I've been right pretty much at every turn about Israel.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think now that the whole thing in Gaza is they're doing it so heinously on purpose so that nobody's actually paying attention to the other wars that they have no real justification for.
How much have you heard about the West Bank?
Not as much, honestly. Why?
Yeah, you heard nothing about all the damn skirmishes and the altercations.
I know that
IDF going in there and taking over territories and shit.
I know the settlers were. I know the settlers were getting antsy. You know, they were getting all, you know, proud boyish out there, and I know that they were expanding the settlements. I think I heard something about Israel funding the settlers through some things or some shit like that. So, and then, which was causing increased violence from settlers on West Bank. That's all I really know about what's going on in West Bank, because all the attention is on Gaza.
Attention's on Gaza right now,
and I feel like that I'm more and more certain that was on purpose.
For twofold. Yeah. Not only is it going to displace all those people in Gaza, it's going to fucking distract them so we can do more shit over here.
It's so heinous we can't look away.
And you know what's everybody around us going to do? We got the fourth largest military, the most advanced military in the region, and fuck you guys.
Yeah, if a drug cartel bombs a school bus full of children in order, you know, they're probably going to be able to smuggle the car full of drugs by while the cops are trying to save the kids, right? I mean,
I think they wanted to put this under the guise of the terrorist activity, and unfortunately, it's they're having to go so deep into it, it's backfiring on them.
Well, I mean, to say it's backfiring on them would be to say that something bad is happening to Israel.
Well, all the other nations are over there getting ready to team up and fucking...
Yeah, and I've been saying that from the fucking get-go, too.
And having to get involved with Lebanon and Iran and fucking Yemen and Syria. And dude, I don't think they anticipated all of that. I don't think that was part of their plan.
I think it was. They couldn't have not, because on day one, there was all these warnings coming out. Don't use this as an opportunity to attack us now. If they started that on day one, October 8th, that they were making statements about how the rest of the world shouldn't, Yemen and all these other countries should just stay out of it. Like, they let us know in the beginning, and none of this has been about Donald Trump.
No.
All right, so Russian collusion, right? The theory.
It's however slightly sideways relevant in a underhanded backdoor kind of a way, but I'm sure we'll get to that rabbit hole later.
Yeah. The world's just complicated. So yeah, Russian collusion. The theory pretty much, is as follows. That people working for the Donald Trump campaign used backdoor intelligence channels with Russia to hack into the Hillary Clinton's email servers and to do kind of a social media war, kind of, putting out fake accounts and bots with misleading news and fake news and all kinds of bullshit that supported Trump. And this is where this is during the time we start to see like Pizzagate, and QAnon and shit like that is off of shit that was born out of this, really. There was this huge investigation. Basically, they were able to find a smoking gun. There was a couple of people, Roger Stone, and Paul Manafort, Steve Bannon. These were all people that were connected to the Trump campaign for the 2016 presidential race. And they all got in trouble for it, but they were never able to find the smoking gun. Like, we know that Roger Stone made deals with fucking WikiLeaks and Julian Assange to release.
They got in trouble for lying about shit.
Yeah, but they weren't able to prove they got
in trouble for stuff related to the investigation.
They lied about stuff that was good. They asked them, did this happen? They said no, and then they charged them for lying about it. It's, but then again, that's just the weird way our Justice Department works. Al Capone would never protect.
I think one of them was, have you ever had a conversation with this particular person? Do you remember every single conversation that you ever fucking had?
No, but I would remember my conversations with Russian intelligence. Yeah.
You would remember important ones. But, somebody's in a room when you're having an important meeting with a person A, and that person they're asking about is person B that was involved in the conversation, but, in a very small manner to your topic. Would you remember that extra person in the room? That's kind of the situation. I don't know the exact situation of it. Okay, I just know one of the questions that one person got in trouble with was saying he never had contact with person B, and he did.
Yeah. But they can't prove the context of that conversation.
I don't know the context of the conversation. I don't know the context of the meeting, how big of a meeting, the importance of that person, none of that. All I know is he did, and he said he didn't, and he got in trouble for that. Not collusion. Got in trouble for lying.
Yeah, they were able to prove that all of the pieces that were needed to make the collusion happen were there. And that there was interference from Russia. We know that.
Yeah.
And, I would say that shows me enough that even though Trump himself may not have been involved in it, that the Trump campaign definitely colluded with Russia in order to do these things. They made a plan to fucking hack into these email servers, and that in itself is is the illegal part of the collusion definition, right? A secret or illegal plan between two parties.
If it was planned, then I would say that it would fall under
right. And what they're able to do is they're able to show, look, all these pieces are here. We just don't have the smoking gun. We don't have a recording of somebody saying this for this.
Okay, we both have a past.
Sure.
Because I know you. Am I involved in your past?
Yeah. Not because you know me, but you are involved in my past.
Am I involved in all those other activities?
In my B&Es?
Yeah. Are you involved in my past? You got a damn thing to do with those, but you know me. We talk to each other.
Yeah.
I'm that type of a person. I go off and do something else because I am that type of a person. You know me. We're sitting there having a conversation. I go off and do it. You got any responsibility of that?
No, but but you can draw a reasonable line.
You can draw the line, yes.
And say that this
person knows this person did that. Okay, yes, those connections are there. We're talking about international relations. If I'm running for the office of president, you damn right I'm going to be fucking talking to my other fucking neighbors.
Like I said, I was actually giving Trump an out and saying, it was his campaign that did it, and he had too much else going on to really worry about the ins and outs. I was going to give Trump an out with the Russian collusion. I believe it happened, but I, like I said, there's no smoking gun.
I don't. All the reports, all the daggum, everybody is on. This is one of the reports here, so from the USA Today from back then. It was the 23rd.
But
my illusion was a hoax.
Here, and I'm not even saying that particular that was the collusion that caused anything. Look at what that particular.
And yeah, he got up on stage and fucking yelled at Rush. If you find him, fucking find him. Send him to us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But
they're doing it. Everybody knows they're doing it.
Yeah, it's an open. Everybody knows that Korea has nukes. You know what I'm saying?
Now, did the Trump campaign tell them to do it and give them access or ways to do it? If that's there, absolutely, that's collusion 100%, and they'll be on that side of the fence trying to fucking nail them to the fucking wall.
We can't find the evidence of that.
Because, okay, hey guys, we happen to have some emails that you might want to take a look at, and they hand them the emails to take a look at. That's not fucking collusion.
Yeah, the question of collusion is if the request for them to hack those emails came from the Trump campaign.
Exactly.
And see, here's the thing. To me, the reason that I'm saying that it had an effect, and I believe it worked, is because...
Oh, it absolutely had an effect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody's talking about the short-term thing of whether it affected the 2016 election. What's important is how it affected the next one.
My question is, would it have ever happened had the dossier never come out?
What dossier?
The one, the goddamn the fucking Hillary Clinton campaign made up for it was supposed to be just ways to train Hillary in debate. It was some off the wall bullshit stories that were made up to train Hillary for certain situations.
Okay,
right. Off the wall outlandish claims that would have happened or could have.
Sure.
Right. And it was never meant for the public, but it got out as something to come out for the public as a smear campaign kind of a thing that Trump had fucking affairs and shit in Russia and had paid for hookers and fucking had stayed at hotels with some of this big czar shit.
I find that very believable.
Yeah, it's completely fake, but it was real. The dossier was real. But the stories were fake, and they were never meant to be real or put out, but they got out.
I find it believable,
right?
It
was supposed to be.
It's not outlandish.
They were looking for something like that,
right? But
so they were preparing her for it.
They were training her how to argue,
right, for that particular thing because they were sure they were going to find it. He has business over there, and he's trying to get business over there at this time. Yeah. So, of course, they're going to find some shit like
looking
that.
At his mafia connections.
And they never found it. Like, the paper got out before they realized, it was never supposed to, it wasn't intentional done by the Hillary campaign, but it did get out, and it looked like it was an intentional smear campaign by the Hillary campaign, and it turned out to be completely fake, made up shit. Would the whole interest in fucking Russia sending Trump the emails saying, hey, since they're doing this, you want to do this, would that have ever happened if it hadn't have started with that fake bullshit getting out?
Maybe not, yeah. But I think what happened is, as a result...
Because they didn't admit that it was fake and nothing like that. No, it was, we don't know nothing.
As a result of these claims of, these election fucking foibles, right? It undermined people's faith in the election process way more than it already was. It was impossible to lower the bar anymore for me, right? I already think I'm watching television when I'm watching it on the television. I'm already pretty certain it's fake.
I knew they had influence over it, but I kind of figured that they just kind of influence it if it was close.
Right.
And it kind of, okay, well, we can nudge it this way or that way.
It was impossible to lower my opinion of the voting process.
Yeah, me, it dropped my Okay, I knew it was a game, but damn.
Right.
At least put the screen up. You ain't even trying anymore. And now everybody sees it.
Well, to me, what this election did was bring my attention to who was funding these campaigns, right? To these like private donors. This is what really opened my eyes on that aspect of it. And like I said, I already didn't believe in the elections, and now I believe that, okay, elections do happen.
Was it that you didn't believe in the elections in the sense that it was all manufactured in the end, or you didn't believe in the elections because the Electoral College is biased?
I believe that no matter who you were voting for, they had a plan. The capital letters, they. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The people.
The illusion of choice.
Right.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
So there's multiple ways that people don't have faith in the system. I wanted to clarify that because I never asked you that.
Yeah, I believe that, your vote gets counted, but it doesn't matter whether it had been Hillary or whether it had been Trump. They were able to enact different parts of the plan. I kind of feel like it's all a farce. Like, yeah, we're voting, but they're not going to take the chance of losing. Not after fucking Truman. No, Roosevelt. Not after FDR.
See, I think there's still 2 or 3 players that are battling for position, and I don't think it really matters who the figureheads are up there.
Yeah.
It's still Republican versus.
That's possible.
That's the Republican. Those are names only. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's person A versus person B, or corporation A versus corporation B.
Yeah,
I think it actually
at best. Yeah, and I'm not, and a lot of people, and these type of conspiracy theories are dangerous because
it's almost like 2 rich guys are sitting over there playing a chess game. It's like, yeah, okay, you take the Democrats and I'll take the Republicans, and we'll see who wins.
Yeah, a lot of times these theories are like discredited because people immediately start saying, well, it's the Jews that are doing it all, and while
one of them might be a Jew, but I don't think it matters.
I don't think their Judaism has anything to do with it. There may be some Jews that are playing along with it, but not because of them being Jews.
No.
Yeah, so it's a dangerous theory to put out there because it's often used by people like Alex Jones to prove.
I don't think you have to be a Jew to have that particular mindset.
No, I don't think there's anything
inherent. Rich mindset.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything inherently. I think there's probably a multitude of races and people from different nations because money doesn't know any of these things.
No.
Money's blind. And, that's
what's universal.
Yeah, and that's what's running it. It has nothing to do with Judaism. It can just easily be a Christian or a Satanist or a Muslim. Honestly, it's less likely to be a Muslim than the other ones.
Manipulation of numbers is evil.
So is usury.
It's a damn shame. I'm hard to peg that one, bro. It's fucking shame that so many fucking people are not participating. No, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like 1.2 billion people not participating in the advancement of the human species. It's fucking sad.
Yeah.
Willingly not participating.
I mean, there's a lot of things I willingly don't participate in. But yeah, I believe that the whole Russian collusion scandal, I believe it was kind of a psyop to undermine the election process, because for the rest of his fucking term, he was talking about how the system was rigged, and he said outright, and it's in the intro of the last episode,
Saying the system was rigged from the very get-go, like
Yeah.
within weeks after he got off the escalator.
Yeah, he started off with that claim. And then this all happened making his claim, even though the scandal seemed to be on his side, it made his claim more valid, right?
At that point in time, I'm like, man's preaching truth.
Yeah. He's the very corruption he's talking about. There it is. This is what it would look like. Oh my God!
To catch a thief.
Yeah, come on though. I mean, look,
It's a reach, but I mean, it's at least in the same.
but
it's not straw man or anything. It's at least an apple to apple. It's a thief showing how to be happy. People how to catch a thief. I mean, and here we had, in my opinion, at that time,
it's like Penn and Teller giving
showing us, hey, this shit's corrupt.
it's
I'm
like
showing you how corrupt it is because watch me.
it's like Penn and Teller giving away how magic tricks are done, except for at the end of the magic trick, people take over the Capitol building.
I didn't say the people he was telling this shit to were bright.
Well, the people who really cared about what he was saying, who got really swept away in it, absolutely not. And speaking of his 2016 campaign, one more thing before we move on to his next campaign.
Either that or they're more intelligent I give them credit for, and they actually, well, if it's that fucking corrupt, we can take it over.
The MAGA slogan, Make America Great Again, right?
Boy.
I want to take a few minutes at least to discuss, when was America great before?
We going subjective or objective?
Well, I mean, the hat doesn't specify. Make America Great Again. This must mean that it was once great before.
Well, it was arguably never great for everyone at any one time. So I don't know exactly what the range of the slogan. I never looked into the creation of the slogan to find out what kind of message they were really trying to put.
With no objective view, and if your greatness is only a subjective view of how great you are, then there is no true greatness, right? You're not truly great because you have no objective view of what you're going against.
Well, like I said, the definition, I don't know where the intended definition was. Where I took it at was on the world stage.
Let's Google it.
Sorry, folks. That was a rough one. But yeah, when it came out, I took it as a world stage, as a world player. And to make America great, to me at that time, at its beginning, meant that we needed to put ourselves back on the world stage to where we were the light of the world. We were the innovators. We were the exception. That's what American exceptionalism was and should be. We were the exception to the rule of the world, as everybody else has been stuck in this stagnant pool for the last thousands of fucking years. We're going to come over here and do something better. We're the exception. Yeah. That was the idea when we broke away and created this nation, was to be something different.
Right. We were supposedly
Not something bad, not that, we're exceptional. No, we're the exception. We're the exception to the rule.
Right. It was founded more on principles of different,
And in doing
different principles of thought.
what was created at the time and what rose from that, it had its thing. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm not going to try to skirt around it. I can say slavery in this year. I know how to use the word.
Yeah, it
I'm not going to
happened.
skate around it.
It happened, and it is definitely the original sin.
It is definitely the colonialism of the white man that fucking turned slavery into something absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it's this nation's original sin. Honestly, I mean,
Now slavery.
did this nation invent it? Yeah, did this nation invent it? No.
We had world slavery, and then we had the shit that the colonial white man bastardized it into.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's always been some form of slavery, and it's not always been great. But the chattel slavery that came out of, like, the
Just want to make sure that,
the Dutch Indian slave trade.
I just want to make sure that, yes, I know that we accept some backside responsibility for slavery.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we drove that industry.
We only take responsibility for what we actually own.
America didn't invent chattel slavery, but we certainly drove it.
We used the shit out of it.
And America, like I said, it was an original
colonies
sin.
that really got it, but we didn't really initially get rid of it when we were.
Yeah, it took almost another century. It took almost another century.
Yeah, for some reason, the guys that wrote the Constitution, for some reason, forgot that it should have included
and then
all men.
Yeah, and
Those guys are men, right?
Yeah, and at some point in time, because they could be free.
That's why
right?
I also say that should be our one edit to the Constitution is we need to replace fucking all men are created equal to all beings.
Well, are we giving AI equal human rights?
To itself, all beings, all humans, all cats, all treat all cats in the way that the cats should treat all humans in the way that humans should be treated, treat all dogs in the way dogs should be treated. Each being should be treated equal to itself.
Oh, man, okay.
Beings are created equal.
I guess, on the
That
surface.
horse over there shouldn't be treated any damn different than that horse over there.
No,
You can't treat
absolutely
that
not.
horse as well as that horse shouldn't have a horse.
I agree. I can get behind that. Sure, I'd have to think on it more, but it sounds nice on the surface. It's like communism, right? But yeah, so like I said, it's the Make America. Trump's answer for when America was great was basic. God, how did I get so far down?
But I would actually back on it. Yeah, I would want to put it back on the world stage. But it turned into something, that we aren't. That we need to go back to some fucking time that something was better than it is now for us. And somebody took a hold of that, and I don't know. I don't know how to define what happened with it.
Yeah, he basically said when he was asked, what do you think? When do you think the United States last had the right balance, either of in the terms of defense or terms of trade? And Trump answered that was during the periods of military and industrial expansion at the beginning of the 20th century, and again in the years after World War II. I believe both of the presidents were Democrats that he's referring. Like you have Roosevelt, and you have Eisenhower too, I think. But America as I guess for the.
Well, if that's his definition, then he forgot fucking Reagan.
Well, he actually, not on his list, the Reagan era. As much as I like Reagan, Donald Trump stated, he started NAFTA. Now, Clinton was really the one that NAFTA has been a disaster for our country, okay. And Clinton is the one, as you know, that got it done, but it was conceived before Clinton. You could say that maybe those people didn't want done what was ultimately signed because it was changed a lot by the time it got finalized. But NAFTA has been a disaster for our country. And yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with him on that. And I think Reagan was a nightmare myself, looking back. He didn't do anything I liked, really.
I can't say that I loved him, but having lived through that time, it was a time of excess. People had multiple cars. People had fucking.
It's called inflation.
No, people were consuming.
Yeah, you were able to. There was actually a stable middle class.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's gone. That's all gone.
Business was booming. Cocaine was everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking stock markets were fucking off the charts.
Yeah. Rent was affordable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could walk to school miles if you wanted to. Neighborhoods were safe.
Well, actually, There was a heavy increase in serial killer activity during the Reagan years.
Crime has been on a steady decline. Maybe a spike or two on the path downward.
Yeah, overall, sure. But, to say...
crime, serial killers, fucking kidnappings, child abuse, all that shit. All the horrible stuff that humanity does has been on a steady decline.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying...
watch the media, then all of a sudden everything's on a horrible uptick.
Not everything, no. But that's just, it's ridiculous to think that Ronald Reagan had anything to do with fucking serial killers. But it's just the thing that, well, these things happen, but they're not really correlated,
But we were so scared that we would lock up the doors and shit in our neighborhoods and stuff.
That was around the time we started to.
It was the 90s. Some big news story made and fucking, made the routes, and, the Nielsen ratings went up. So
the Satanic Panic was part. It was you had Richard Ramirez. Yeah, and that was really where all that started.
The media widespread coverage started going nightmarish on that because the ratings started going up like fucking it was some.
Yeah, you had Henry Lee Lucas. You had the Adam Walsh thing go down, and then you had Richard Ramirez just walking into people's
local
homes.
Local news coverage became nationwide coverage, and that was the fall.
Yeah. People learned that these things were happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But anyhow, on to his next run for president.
But for the times that he likes, I mean, okay, president, who gives a shit which one was running? The period of time that he was referring to, those were pretty good fucking times.
If you look at America as if you ignore the people,
ignore the people and you look at it as a nation.
Yeah, a GDP.
On the world stage.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why that's why I had the idea. That's what he was referring to the entire time. Did he stick to that? No.
No, he didn't do anything to help that along.
He tried. He tried. It's a wonder that he kept it afloat as good as he did.
Yeah.
I mean, when you crash the ship into 5 icebergs, you would almost expect it to sink, but he kept it afloat.
Flex seal tape is pretty cool.
So imagine had he not been steering the ship astray.
I mean, had he not been a piece of shit, if people didn't suck, think of the good things they could do.
Had he not overreached on the trade agreement, the tax breaks that he gave all these other corporations to open up their businesses related to the farm industry, would have been able to flourish, but he crashed the fucking farm industry that they were relating to.
Yeah,
Whoops.
Yeah, and I learned something yesterday, and this goes to just the way this man thinks. Is one of the senior advisors from the Department of Homeland Security, who had been studying these right-wing extremists that were recruiting people that old army vets and whatnot, that were kind of recruiting them and radicalizing them. And it was one of the biggest threats to national security at the time. Well, all Trump wanted to hear was Mexico, southern border, and stuff like that. And actually kind of derailed the entire meeting, and had these DHS guys researching the cost of having alligators and poisonous snakes put into a moat at the border.
He seems to forget that during those times of massive expansion, we relied heavily on Mexican immigration to come across our border and do things.
Immigration from all over, including his fucking family.
Well, we always got an immigration, but we heavily the southern border has been the focus here. So, and Mexico's been his focus, even though they don't quite make up half of the population coming across the border every year. So it's not necessarily Mexico.
Yeah.
It's not all Mexico, at least, anyways. They come from all over to get through that southern border.
And the way the majority of them get in
We
is
relied heavily on them to come across to work in the fields so that we could pull more people out of the fields, run them through school to put them in the manufacturing. We needed people in the field, so we brought them over. It was intentional. It was mainly controlled. Big difference. We still relied heavily on it, but we controlled the influx. We have no fucking control over what's going on here. And when they tell the state to rely on it, it's your problem. The state tries to do something, and now we got the government telling the state, yeah, everything that you do, you can't do. To the point where the government comes down there to undo some of the stuff that the state's done. So then it comes into another daggone problem with the immigration policies that, you know, like I said, Trump was right here with all these sanctuary cities popping up. Yeah, you think you're going to handle this daggone problem. Well, what do we do now? Well, the state gets told they got to handle the problem. The government stops telling them that they can stops them from everything they do. They start shipping them out. Now we got a whole other fucking shitstorm coming up. Because of the way they're handling, nobody agrees with, but they're sending them to these sanctuary cities that were open to the idea.
no, and that's fine.
Well, now the sanctuary cities are crying like hell for daggone, you know, tax dollars from the government and help. So the government's not doing a damn thing. What Trump was trying to do, I don't exactly agree with, but at least it would have controlled the influx a little bit, and we wouldn't be having all these other damn problems with it.
The thing is, the
But it got turned
majority,
into a fucking racist argument.
the majority of these of immigrants that come in, and we're going to do a whole episode on immigration, but the majority of illegal immigrants that come in legally, right? Like something like 80% of them are coming in on airplanes, are coming in legally through work visas and whatnot. This putting up alligators will stop what? Nothing. Maybe 150, 250 people a month or something like that. Nothing. The majority of them are coming in over the fucking airplanes, going through border crossings. Like, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people, but it's not gonna make such a huge dent. And what do they do about tunnels? Not a goddamn thing. There's tunnels all over the place. People are getting in boats. They got submarines.
700,000 arrested in this particular day right here. Up to 500,000 migrants waiting at Mexico border crossing. More than 1 million migrants arrested at the U.S.-Mexico border. There's a huge border crisis.
Well, yeah, but they're how many are at the border crossing versus people illegally climbing fences and shit?
There's many are actually crossing illegally.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see.
and they're piling up at the border crossing. Well, it's piling that they're crossing, right?
And yeah, you can hear folks after 40 years working on a computer, I still can't fucking type.
I heard typing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's see. Worst year at America's border ever. More than 3.2 million encounters. 1.7 million known gotaways have evaded apprehension. 35,000 aliens arrested with criminal convictions, 598 gang members, 178 of those being MS-13, 27,000 pounds of fentanyl, I don't know why they put that particular in there on this key fact, but it's there. So since President Biden took office, there have been 7.5 million encounters and 6.2 million encounters on the southwest border alone, in addition to 1.7 million known gotaways.
We'll have to look more into that on our immigration episode. That sounds kind of scary. We have to double check all that. But I mean, yeah, people are coming in, but that has, like I said, it's not. They're coming in. Like I said, the majority of immigration is still. That means there's a lot of people coming in. That's only a small percentage of it. The hugest percentage of people coming into this country are coming in on airplanes legally, and then they just overstay their visas, or they're coming in across the border legally and then just overstay their visas. Hey, Amity. She does not like immigration.
Apparently not.
Sorry guys, I'm waiting for appointments to get my cat fixed. She's in heat. There's that soundbite for you, Mike.
Yeah. Because I don't know the number of folks that overstay their visas, but I do know that over the last few years, the numbers of illegal entries through the southern border has dramatically increased.
Well, sure, okay. Immigration at southern border,
Now,
are a problem.
The mass waves, these caravans, are not folks that are coming to try to. We want to come in and illegally invade your nation. No, it's not what's happening there.
Well, if Trump had put...
That's what people are perceiving this shit to be on that particular side, that the new MAGA crowd that took over that slogan. That's what they're perceiving it to be, which is the problem. If you're perceiving it to be that, you're going to be fighting against solving the issue. The problem is these people are coming to try to run away from the bullshit that they got down at home, that they can't fix down at home. Much like most of us can't really fix what we've got here, because we try voting for a different fucking person, it turns into a fucking shitstorm. Folks, we're definitely going to do a whole episode, or maybe two, on immigration. Probably be our next project. But my point is that Trump is the person who, while listening to credible intelligence about right-wing nationalists, recruiting military people and then having military drills, becoming paramilitary groups with expressed intent, on overthrowing the government. Trump ignored this and instead wanted a moat full of alligators. If Trump had gotten his moat full of alligators, what happened January 6th would have still occurred in his name. At his behest, I'm not saying at his behest, we're not at that point of the discussion. It would have still occurred in his name. Alligators at the border or no, because that wasn't the true threat that he was being told about. Actually, it would probably be more intense. Because their Messiah would have actually gotten something done that they could point to.
I don't think alligators at the border is going to be a thing.
The only really thing you can find at Trump is in office, and you have to dig through policy to find out what happened that he wanted it to happen.
You know what happened day one?
And that ain't very many.
Listen, you said how 2,700 pounds of fentanyl were at the border? All right, day one, alligators and snakes are released into this section of the Rio Grande. Day two, 700 pounds of fentanyl are released into the Rio Grande, and people walk the fuck across with the other 2,000 pounds of fentanyl. It's a ridiculous plan. It might have worked in the 14th century, but this is 2020, 2016, 2018. Actually, I think it was around 2018 when
There's
this
only
happened.
one style of border that's ever going to fucking work. If you have to have some type of border to prevent people from moving willy-nilly through there, there's only one that's going to work, and it's going to be a mutual one.
Well, there was also, you mentioned yesterday when we weren't recording, or earlier you mentioned when we weren't recording, a demilitarized zone like Korea.
Yeah.
I could point to another example, the Berlin Wall. You know?
I didn't say nobody crossed it. I just said very few fucking people. And the Berlin Wall was another one that very few fucking people crossed.
Yeah, but it was also a nightmare. It was a horrible thing.
It was. So is the Korean military. But if you really want to stop people from fucking crossing, that's one way to fucking at least slow it the fuck down.
Right.
It'd be really hard on our border. It's huge.
It just shows we do have the ability to make it happen.
We have the ability to make it happen. I would more than likely just turn it into a military training ground instead of a fucking actual fucking hardcore border like that. But
Yeah, then let them cross at their own risk.
if you're going to go that route,
Yeah.
what I would put if I were, making decisions, I would more than likely go with the whole route of building a big giant fucking resort city across the fucking border, and we do a joint construction on that with both nations, and we just make only a few places actually crossable. But each side has its own resort and fucking housing, and you just build a big giant city across the fucking border. Network of roads, infrastructure, whole 9 yards. Make it a big joint effort. It would bring prosperity to that particular
Neither country actually owns it. It's a neutral zone.
It's a neutral zone. Or you can say this is the U.S. side and that's the Mexico side, but they're both identical clone copies of sides. All right, so if we bother editing that, you won't know anything about it, and if we don't, then welcome to the reality of our recording.
Yeah, the woke liberal media colluded with FedEx to deliver a package right now. And unlike any other time near about, except for yesterday when you showed up, and today were the only time they ever ring the fucking doorbell. Usually I just walk outside and there's a package there. But goddamn woke liberal media. That's what that is. Trying to shut us down because of my far right views.
Or is it maybe the far right wingers are?
Well, they're the only. Look,
because I'm actually talking sense. Fucking
Fox News is the only honest media source out there, Mike. Of that and One America News.
Well, you can't listen to that damn peacock.
Crazy peacock. The Fox. He knows what's up. Oh, God. Satire, folks. I despise Fox News.
I'm not exactly in love with them.
Yeah, I do watch a lot of Fox News. Usually to find out what they're saying, but actually I find it's easier to listen to One American News because they don't beat around the bush. They just go directly to the point. Christian Nationalist News Center. But yeah, so
I like Fox because most of those fuckers will fucking twist the fuck out of the damn facts. However, they do at least point to the facts.
You may be aware that facts exist.
Yes, that's the thing.
You don't know them.
That's what makes them more dangerous, man. Mm-hmm. Is that somebody like, just the average Joe is going to go, really? And they're going to look at it and they're going to do a quick little search and, wow.
Yeah, the algorithm brings you up to, and the thing
They'll
is,
look at the actual document, but they won't fucking read it.
And see, and this is
like the fucking Bible because somebody said that's what they're never going to read it for themselves.
This brings up another thing that I think is an important player in Trump's 2020 election and the fallout thereafter is search algorithms and social media algorithms and shit like that.
Oh, yes.
Because if you already are kind of like right winger or left winger, right? and you search for these things, or you read these particular types of articles or whatnot, or you watch these particular videos, it knows that you're more likely to click on things that are in this fucking sphere. It's called an echo chamber. I know you know this.
Oh yeah, it took me so long to realize that was there.
Right. And we talked about these a little bit in our mass shooters, right?
Yeah.
Well, this also led to a lot of the QAnon and a lot of what happened on with
Mass public city think.
Yeah, and it's driven by nonsense, but it's these algorithms telling people what the algorithm thinks that person wants to know. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it's not what they think you want to know. It's which one are you most likely to click on or most likely to react to. Which one are you more likely to spend at least 30 seconds looking at? Because that's the one I can put an ad on.
yeah. And so that's
How can I get you to this particular page? I got to know exactly what you like and what you dislike. Which ones are you hating the most? Which ones do you leave a comment on? Because I'm going to send you every fucking thing somewhat related to it.
That's why I try to, whenever I hear news about something on the left, I watch something about it on the right too. It's my algorithm's balanced.
It took me over a year to balance my algorithm, bro.
You kept getting that fucking far right shit.
Yeah, I was getting all that fucking shit.
And it's always a little bit more. And before you know it, you're wearing Viking horns and smearing feces in the Capitol building.
Luckily, I was realizing that was bullshit. I was getting pulled into something a little bit before that.
Yeah, I know. I saw. I saw when you put the brakes on. It was just before. I was like, oh boy.
I mean, I didn't love Trump at the time, but I was still thinking he was a better choice than Biden at that time. Yeah. I did not vote for him. I still have the thought.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I still hold that, that election was bullshit. Not that it was, stolen or anything.
Well, I guess this is the time to talk about it, Mike. Let's tell me the story of the 2020 election. The 2020 election.
That night kind of thing? Yeah, that's
well, sure. I mean, that's tell me your story. Tell me your story of the election.
Now, this is how it is perceived from this perspective. I mean, this is the perspective of the assholes that are holding that this is rigged, and we got to stop the steal and all that. It's the same perspective. You're sitting there watching the election unfold. Votes are coming in. Trump is fucking dominating every fucking thing. I mean, swing states. Fuck. Name a swing state. And then, people stop counts. Just here or there, just a couple of counties here or there, stopping counts. Your results are way late coming in. And, the election starts going in through the wee hours of the morning. And then, you start hearing the stories at the time about pipe leaks is the cause of one of the vote centers going down, and
God, I forgot about that.
But
they were only out for a little while.
They were only out for a little while, but there's more than one that were out. One was a power outage or something.
Yeah.
There could be legitimate reasons that shit happens. I'm not saying that that's part of some kind of conflict.
Right. You got thousands of voting places.
What is happening?
Sure.
I'm not saying why, what, or how. I'm just saying what is happening.
Sure, things are bound to happen.
From my memory, there may be. This is also from my memory, and I am fortunately fucking human. So,
right. Of course.
So, but the best that I can put it together is that there were some stories coming out with some voting centers going down, stuff like that. No big deal. Something can happen. But, Trump is dominating, right? I mean, massive leads. The news coverage stops. They stop giving the results of certain districts and a couple of states. It's like, well, what's happening over here? It's like been hours. There's no report of any outages or nothing like that. They just stop reporting. So we're not getting any result changes. So media coverage just kind of slows down to a snail's pace about 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. There's no kind of coverage whatsoever. There's been no fucking updates in over 2 fucking hours. So everybody gets a damn little bit of a nap. We wake up 2 hours to all of a sudden in a couple of key cities, it's now Biden and he's got the win. What the fuck happened? So now the news coverage is mail-in ballots. Well, we weren't counting. What the fuck happened here? We weren't supposed to be counting again until 8 a.m. It's fucking 7 a.m. and what the fuck? It's all Biden? Every fucking mail-in vote was Biden? I know it's supposed to be heavy, but did not a single fucking Republican fucking decide to take the easy way? Really? Seriously? Is it that kind of a data skew? And then you've got all the fucking area over here is ready except this one little tiny fucking blue. And that one little tiny blue just happens to have enough fucking votes to swing the whole damn state.
Population density.
Right. Which is why I believe in the Electoral College, by the way. It needs to be updated. It's fucked up right now, but why?
You know, people keep changing the rules to win.
Right. Right. But it's the reasoning of it, and that's why I still believe it.
Sure, I understand the spirit of the Electoral College.
Right, it's kind of like the spirit of NASCAR. You know, if you still love NASCAR, man, it's like
I actually hate NASCAR more than I dislike the Electoral College.
It doesn't hold true to the spirit of NASCAR.
But yeah, I understand it, and I can get behind the spirit of thought behind the way the Electoral College is supposed to work. Yeah, I get it.
And if you're getting ready to lose me over the NASCAR comment, stick around. We might do an episode on NASCAR. I might hold on to you.
God, we've never discussed NASCAR once. You know why? Because it sucks.
It sucks. But it didn't used to.
God, we've spent hours talking about games like Warhammer and shit.
I won't even buy a NASCAR game. I love racing games. Well, not if it's NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Racing.
I think the most fun I ever had with NASCAR was the South Park episode about it.
Yeah, stick around. We might have, if you want to. If you're ready to leave us because of NASCAR and you want to hold on, put a comment some damn where around here. I'm sure there's a place for it. We'll get it.
Yeah.
If you want, we'll do it.
You can email us at stonerspointpod@gmail.com. And just put NASCAR in the title. I'll see it.
I'll tell you why the fuck we hate NASCAR, goddamn.
Oh God, probably I don't know. Maybe you have separate reasons, but yeah,
we're not irrelevant, man. I was actually because I got the same fucking love-hate relationship with NASCAR as I do with Trump. Used to love him, fucking hate him.
Wow, you used to like NASCAR.
Oh, dude.
Wow, there's a story arc here. Yeah, we'll do an episode about NASCAR one day. Oh man, there's a story arc here. I'm intrigued.
I'm gonna say I can do that.
Okay, so all right, so population density, the blue votes are more popular for Biden than Trump. All right.
But they weren't there to begin with. It was Trump even there when we went to bed. It just those last minutes, like the last box was all Biden.
Okay.
So those were the questions that I had. Like, yeah, man, that's weird. And then you got a couple of places that that by the number of votes that were already counted, it should have been a statistical improbability for the last 2% to have enough votes for Biden to get the swing. But it happened. It happened several occasions. Now, these are within the days afterwards because, the morning after we realized, wait a minute, what the fuck? How the hell did this happen? So we started looking at all the damn numbers. That shouldn't have happened. There's no fucking way he got 99% of the fucking votes there. He would have needed 99% of the fucking remaining votes because he had, 98% of the fucking vote already.
Right.
There was only
something
2%
about that.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Man, what the hell?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense with the numbers that were initially reported.
Right,
Yeah.
and so it was, and when you put that to the point where there was the stories of the voting centers getting put out with the power and the thing, and the electric thing and the water pipes, and then the other guys just stopped fucking reporting until the results were done.
Yeah, I have a fun story about that when it's my turn.
Wait, what the hell? So, and that's where I was like, well, this is kind of fucked up because we shouldn't have this kind of questioning. And then we got this whole fucking, well, now you got 2 weeks afterwards for your vote to be, mailed in. Why? I'm okay with the early voting. If you want to vote early and already made up your fucking mind for some fucking reason, all right. But I'm okay with that. Early voting to get your shit done. But to continuously extend, and I had problems leading up to it with people changing the rules of what they would allow as a vote to be counted without going through the proper legislation.
What do you mean? A vote is a vote, right? I mean, it's machines. It's not like the hole punchers anymore.
No, the rules of how long you had to get your vote counted, whether or not they would take the full address on the as necessary for you to count the vote or not.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
On the vote.
Different districts had different rules about it, and yeah, I agree with that.
Each state has their own rules and stuff.
It's a little bit weird, but yeah.
Each state's legislature changes the rules, not the fucking voting commission. The fucking voting commissions or some fucking committee, I can't remember the fucking committees that changed the damn rules, but they were changing the voting rules of what were acceptable or not. The length of time you had to vote, whether or not they were going to take mail-in voting, what would be acceptable on the envelope as proper address, whether you're just going to accept the name or did it have to have the whole address. All these rule changes and stuff were happening without going through legislation.
Well, I mean, I can see part of the reason for that. Yeah,
there was a couple of them that were egregious. Get back to where I can breathe right there. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a couple of the claims that were found very quickly to be false. But some of them were done without going through the legislation and should have.
Yeah. I think part of that, a good part of that is, you have the legislation making laws about how the voting works, but when it comes down to processing the votes,
well, drop boxes,
you know what I mean?
Be acceptable or not.
Yeah,
There's a big fucking stake on whether or not we should be able to do that. Not counting you have the voter ID. Man, that's, oh my gosh, why is that even a thing?
Yeah,
I'd be fucking every goddamn.
I've always had, and
nobody has a problem getting the fucking.
I've had such a problem understanding, and I've asked so many people, to please explain to me what is racist about the voter ID policy. I keep hearing the same argument, and I disagree with it.
You get some niche issues. There are small issues. There's going to be a few people that have issues of getting to the DMV to get an ID.
But the thing is, how likely are these people to vote anyway?
Well, you bust them around to vote. Well, let's bust them to the fucking DMV to get the fucking ID and then take them to the fucking voter. Okay? Done.
That would solve that problem. Right?
Exactly.
And more than most people, most people have an ID, and it's maybe make it easier to gain access to that, maybe don't put up a money barrier to having an ID. And with facial scan recognition as it is now.
Oh, they offer free IDs, so that was,
and now with all the facial scans and technology, it don't even matter anymore, right?
It really doesn't.
Yeah, the whole thing's academic at this point. Just scan their fucking face. You know who they are.
Yeah.
Don't tell me the government can't do that.
If they've already been in one machine or not.
Yeah, don't tell me the government can't do that. I know.
Right here first, folks.
Yeah. You can, Government, you can send the check payable to Stoners Point Podcast.
You want me to get full faith in that? Yeah, that's one way. Another way is everybody's got a fucking phone, right? Everybody's got a phone. You want to restore faith in the fucking vote?
Yeah, and then there's also the Obama
phone right there on the phone. And yeah, we've already got the president for the government giving everybody a damn phone, the Obama phone. Just upgrade the fucking version a little bit and everybody will actually want the goddamn thing.
Yeah, you take a picture of yourself.
So everybody's got a fucking choice. You can either have an iPhone 5 or 6 or whatever the fucking latest one is, or you can have a Samsung of your fucking choice, or you can have a Google of your fucking choice, whatever the fuck it is. Pick your fucking thing. We'll give you your fucking first phone. All you gotta do is maintain the insurance.
Yep, replace it, what, every 3 years?
Yeah.
Sure, you know.
Yeah. You're going to pay for a fucking phone service any damn way. We'll just give you the phone, okay? You maintain the service, we'll give you the fucking phone. That's your, national fucking, if you can't maintain your service, you can't fucking vote.
Well, I mean, even then, wait. If you can't maintain your phone service, right, you can still call 911. You can still get Amber Alerts. There's really no reason you still can't vote.
This will give somebody the drive to at least be moderately productive.
Maybe.
Even if you're on even if you were on the lowest fucking levels, motherfuckers have a fucking phone.
And I'm like, even if they still go into
even homeless folks maintain their fucking phones, bro.
A lot of them have Obama phones.
A lot of them do, and they maintain it.
And they have it through their food stamp benefits. Now, as long as we keep that same program, sure. Makes perfect sense to me.
It used to be you had to be a landowner or serve in the military. You had to have some fucking measure of being a citizen to have a say in what the citizenry does. We need that kind of a measure. It needs to be a low-ass bar, because we haven't had any kind of a measure in some kind of a while. But we need that kind of a basic fucking measure of saying, I give a fuck. So I have a right to say something about what is out there. Because folks that don't give a fuck, what the fuck? And if you don't give a fuck about yourself at all,
well, it's like, I don't
even panhandle a damn enough to pay for a phone to do this. Then, I mean, it's just it's not a set rule. Right? It's just off top of the head thing we can take and expand it.
Yeah, we can have some of the details, but we're on the same page that there's no reason you can't vote with your phone.
Right.
And that would solve the need.
And have some kind of a basic requirement. Just people that don't give a fuck. And they can be just as freaking I don't give a fuck about a vote. They're actually more likely to be.
Yeah, well, look at me. I'm not even registered to vote. I'm not going.
You're going to maintain the thing to be able to get the basic information.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have the basic information, which is why I'm not even registered to vote right now.
You know what fucking sad I've seen fucking people do? And it's because I was in the fucking voting line, and the way they do the vote is absolutely fucking there. They had us lining up around the daggone building inside where you could pretty much see everybody. I mean, yeah, you got this little partition with the machine sitting there, but it's a small little fucking partition so the guy next to you can't see what button you're pushing, right? Me standing in line, I can see all 15 of you. And when I get up there, I know where the buttons are. Wow, I just went to this fucking 35 fucking people vote. What? Okay, not everybody's a card counter. Not going to remember all those fucking machines like me, but you can remember 2 or 3 of them, so you know what. Oh, that's my buddy over there. What the hell buttons he pushing?
Well, they have like booths and stuff.
Not everywhere.
The one I went to did.
Not where I went. We were all in the damn gymnasium. We were circled around the damn thing. They just had them lined up in the middle. One's up one side, down the other, down the middle of the fucking basketball court. And had us lined up around it.
Actually, you know what? I think I am registered to vote.
If you're registered once, you're permanently.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I think I am registered to vote. Way the fuck out in Johnson County.
I'm registered, and I did not vote the last election. I voted the previous one.
All right, so we've gotten to the
But
point.
that perspective is, what the fuck happened, and then we started looking into it, and realized that there's some statistical improbabilities there. That's where I drew it. This is statistical improbability. The only way this fucking happened is some backhand manipulation. And that's all I give a fuck. I've always thought that happened. It ain't nothing new. And, but they didn't cover this one up very well where I stood. I accepted. They won. They cheated fair and square. Can't prove a damn thing. Love it.
So that's where you are on it now, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't trust any of the elections.
Well, no, neither. I mean, not like I said. My thing has always been I don't trust the choices. Right. To me, the day it happened, I was working with Jody, and actually all of our paying members were all sitting at that. We stopped at this Italian place to eat, and they had the election going, and Jody was a Trumper. I mean, he was a hardcore Trumper. He's a great dude, best boss I ever had, but man's probably trying to vote for Trump right now. You know what I mean? We were watching it, and at that time, it was like 5, 6 o'clock. At that time, Trump was in the lead, right? But it was also the time that all your early voters, not all, but the majority of your early voters were Trump. Right, and all your people during the day that are off work that can just go and vote. You got your older people, retired people, rich white people who ain't got to go worry about shit, or can just have the free time to go do it. More than likely, they're voting for Trump. And after when everything started, people started getting off work. And people started being able to finally catch the bus. Now that rush hour's over, they can finally catch the buses or whatever it may be. Then you started seeing the votes go up the other way, and to me, it made perfect sense, right? It completely jived. All the bosses who were letting people off work to go vote, you know who they were going to go vote for? Trump. And there was probably a couple that voted for Biden, but the majority of these people during these earlier parts were voting for Trump. And all the later parts of it, majority of them were voting for Biden. There just happened to be way more of them, right? It made sense to me.
That's not what my local population density reflects.
Your local population density, absolutely not. My local population density, absolutely. Look at the population density of voters in this area versus the population density of voters in that district.
See, all the rich folks down there that don't have jobs are the liberals that all went voted for fucking,
I don't know, man. I door dashed around there. I saw a lot of McMansions with "Don't Tread on Me" flags and 3%er stickers on their truck.
There's a few of them in there. Because even those guys like golf.
And some of them, I assume, are liberal leaning.
But that particular side of town is very liberal. And I ain't got a problem with liberalism. I got a problem with progressivism.
Yeah, we've covered this.
And to clarify earlier, even in my previous statement, I would still have a welfare program for folks that can't go there. It just wouldn't be like the welfare we have.
I agree with you on the most part. I don't think capital should have anything to do with being able to vote. I do believe maybe you should have be able to show a certain amount of equity, but that's about it.
I would much rather it be intelligence based than production based, but we're production based in society, so that would.
I strongly want to move us away from that.
Yeah. Well, I want us to be production based, but more scientific.
I look at Star Trek and I'm like, why can't we live like that?
Yeah. Last person to get ready.
That's the thing about teleportation. Once you invent it, you realize you're the last person ever to invent it. So to me, it made perfect sense, right? And there's a thing I've heard. I don't know how it's hard to actually prove, right? But the places where there was like 7 or 8 times, like with those power outages you mentioned, those gas leaks, the times they occurred were times that historically more Democrats vote during. The power shutdown and the gas leak, that all happened at these times when votes would have been going towards Biden any fucking way, probably. Historically speaking. It's that, does that mean correlation equals causation? I don't know. But to me, it looks like election interference from the other side. Also, right before the elections, there was all these Proud Boys that were doing these fucking poll watching. Now, if that isn't fucking electoral fucking intimidation, I don't know what is. It's fucking literal black shirts, bro, brown shirts, standing there, overwatching the votes. That's a little odd. You should have had some, centrist people out there, or people who are, not invested in it. Not fucking brown shirts.
I remember that kind of stuff on both sides.
Well, you had to respond to the goddamn brown shirts.
Well, I think both sides are claiming the exact same thing there.
There shouldn't have been any of it.
Shouldn't have been any of it. Right, that's what I'm saying. But I think both sides are, responding to the exact same thing. They're both doing the thing they shouldn't be doing. And
then Trump made so many claims, specific claims about fraud that were proven false.
Oh, yeah.
So many specific ones that, we could go into all of them, but Jesus is already going to be a long enough episode. You guys already know it if you want. If you don't, you can dig into the individual claims. But
I don't believe in the lost mail truck and, the fucking, suitcases hidden underneath fucking, underneath.
That came from a trimmed down video that didn't show you what actually happened.
I don't believe in none of that nonsense.
I honestly believe that Biden won the election fair and square.
Now, box stuffers, I'm not exactly sure on. I can't go either way on that, whether or not the drop box stuffers.
But you can never rule that out. That's the thing. I can't look at a single election that isn't something that's been talked about, even all the way back to Kennedy in 60.
Some of them look suspect, but then they've got a story that kind of all right, but I can make up good stories too.
There's if there was any ballot stuffing, it wasn't enough.
Not ballot stuffing, the drop boxes. Where like they had them outside of Walgreens and stuff. You can just go drop your ballot in the box and go. And that movie, I haven't watched it, the 10,000 Mules thing. I've seen a couple little clips from that where they show those little things about the folks that go there and repeatedly are dropping like fucking 100 ballots in a box. They'll go to another one, they'll drop another 100 in that box.
But there's reasons for that. It's not.
There's reasons for that, exactly.
They have to be fed into the machine. And if they're like millions and fucking like Dropbox ballots, that's how you do it.
Well, now we're talking about somebody pulling up outside of Walgreens into the drop boxes, not the ballots, not the vote counting stations. This is like days and weeks before the election. They're pulling up in their car, coming up with a fucking mailbox, by a mailbox, one of those white plastic fucking mail delivery boxes, setting it down and putting hundreds of ballots into the drop box to be picked up to take to the voting center. And they're doing this at multiple places. Now, there's legitimate reasons for this. You got ballot harvesters.
They're going around picking it up, putting it in. They go to the
folks on, pick up their ballots, go to the drop box, and then they drop it. There's valid reasons. I can make up valid reasons for every fucking thing. So I cannot say with one side or the other that this is wrong or right on any one instance.
I can't rule out
a valid cover story or a valid story for either direction.
I can't rule out that there may have been some
And the fact that I cannot go one way or the other. I can't disprove this. I cannot disprove the fact that it's 100% effective. Or 100%
I can't disprove that 9/11 wasn't an inside job. You know, and I put it at the same, and that's how I put it with this. I can't
if you
disprove
can't disprove it, then it's not a valid theory because you have to have a testable claim to it. You know? So it's an idea, right?
Right. Yeah,
no problem with that. We just got to put it in the right category, which is the same thing with the ballot. So you got to put it in the right category. It's just an idea there. There's no basis. There's no there to test. And so that's why I was saying is since I can't test it to show whether it's positive or negative, I can't disprove the claims. Then I can't make it. There's no claim to be made. So that's got to go. Which is where I was at on all of this evidence is if you make a claim, then that claim has to be a testable claim. It has to be provable false, at least attempted to be proved false. I have to have a way to show that that could be false, that I can test and find out, well, no, I'm wrong. Well, that's indeed true because I can't prove it false. It has to be falsifiable is the right term I think I finally got to.
Right. And what it comes down to is there is no evidence that the election was a hoax or fraud or whatever, right? There's no evidence, no true evidence that you could point to. And there's been so many of the claims that have been disproven that I say if there was some, which I can't rule out. I can't rule out because, human nature is what it is. Politics is what it is. I can't rule out on either side. And that's one of the reasons I pointed out the brown shirt thing and the timing with which these interruptions in voting happen.
Does election fraud happen? Yes. We've got cases
but I don't
proven here
think
recently that
it's
show that it
enough.
does. Does it happen on a scale large enough to affect a national election? I'm unsure.
I'm unsure. I don't think
Which is a
so.
problem. That's my problem is I'm unsure.
Where I think we run into the problem of is what these electors do is it goes to an elector who decides for that district. That's, so no matter what happens, it's really up to that person to say what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason I'm unsure is because of the way they handled the investigation afterwards. And if you have this much of a claim that an election has come under scrutiny, it needs to be investigated.
Well, they did. There
both sides.
was a bunch of investigation. And they all came up with dust.
There was stonewalling of the investigation until after the elections were certified.
Well, by that time, it had become a matter of principle.
Exactly.
So much,
But then that brings up a whole bunch of other stuff of whether or not these damn machines were actually tampered with before they were investigated. With the missing adjudication files and the erased hard drives. The one that was sent for investigation didn't even have a hard drive.
Yeah, there's weird shit going on there.
There was stonewalling in the investigation to begin with. After they stonewalled it, rightfully so. I'm not, because I would have too. I mean, I won, motherfucker. We ain't investigating shit until after this is done. There's no way out of this. Now we can let you start looking into shit. But that also gave them plenty of time to do shit, which I have a problem with. Not saying they did, but there was an opportunity.
All right. Well, I guess now we come to Trump's partaking in all this. Want to talk about the Georgia phone call?
Like I said, my position on it is there is the possibility that has not been addressed yet.
Well, speaking of things that are possible, this has definitely been a point of discussion, folks, between me and Mike many times. I think since the day after the phone call happened.
The day after it became public.
Yeah. Me and Mike have been discussing this infamous phone call. So Mike, wanna take a start on this one? I think I've responded to where I failed on the election claims that, there's been nothing proved, and I don't think even if there was that it was enough to really influence the election. I don't think anybody really wanted Trump again. And the ones that did were quick to say it.
Apparently a record number of people did.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I have too much faith in humanity. But to me, it all seemed to scan. I'm like, yeah, this all scans. It's at least as honest as any other election.
Georgia called shortly after the election, right?
Yep.
So this man, he believes he won. All the smart people around him tells him he won. Tells him this is an impossibility. So the statistics here, this particular this happened over here. This voting station was hiding votes over here because we got this report. This person said we had a fucking FedEx person, or was it a UPS or mail? One of the fucking delivery folks come out saying that he was fucking told to take mail from fucking New York all the way out to Pennsylvania and drop it off there for their voting shit. Turned out it was a lie. Come out, it was bullshit. But at the time, that was the story, okay? And we had other people talking about that they were, told to mishandle shit. So this is the knowledge at the time. All true proven. Admitted to be false. I can't prove anything or state no claim. I got nothing in it. But these people come forward to say that they were lying about it. So we take it at that. That's where I base my knowledge at. I got no reason to say that ain't it. So this is where this man's at. He thinks he's won this election because he got a record number of votes, and all the data and that he's got, has been presented to him is that this shouldn't have happened. There's no way that Biden got that much of it, that nobody voted for him by mail. And there was supposedly a lot of chunks of ballots that were pulled in, that were 100% Biden. Don't know. That's just some of the stories that go around.
Yeah, that's what Trump said anyway.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he heard wind of those stories, and that's the shit that he's believing. So this man's under the impression that these stories are true at the time because they have not been proven false at the time. Doesn't matter to him, by the way. Doesn't matter to a large percentage of the population, by the way. But it did matter to me. So this is the mindset of this guy. He's won the election, and all these fucking things are coming true to him. That there's votes out there that's not being counted or been misappropriately counted. Voting machines have been flopping votes, which we actually now have a precedence for. That has been found to happen.
It didn't happen, though, in this case, at least so far. It has been proven.
That has been proven, but it does open the possibility because if we don't know, I don't know if the hard drive was ever proven to be found or wiped or if nothing. I don't know the resolution of that particular story.
Again, we don't even know if things happen. Could all be a sim.
But so he makes a phone call to Georgia where there happens to be one of these stories to where there was it a power outage, or was that where they had the water thing? I can't remember where. I can't
Georgia,
all the stories together.
Georgia is where they
for some reason they had a pause in their vote, and they moved everybody out.
That was a pipe leak, yeah.
And where they got video of, but it's been edited. It was edited that these people seen where they based all this knowledge off of. I don't know why, but it was. It was
edited in a way to make it look like there was some nonsense going on.
Yeah, like this person came from the side of the box of boats, and there was no watchers there. Which
when what it was she was packing up the box on this side of the table, and then walking over. Yeah, it was intentionally cut to do so.
Now, this is where I have to say that intent comes into mind. When we have to remember intent when it all comes down to the Clinton thing, that intent matters when it comes to big crimes like this. So he's under an impression by the smart people around him, by the data that he's been fed, that there's an event happened that votes may have been.
Sure, I'll grant that possibility that it was Giuliani.
So he makes a phone call. And he starts to proceed to talk to this governor about finding these extra votes that may or may not have been counted, and these stories are saying that this happened. We've got this video saying that by the count here that you're missing some votes, and that we've got the numbers here, and by the data he's got, he runs off a bunch of fucking numbers, and they make sense if you go by that particular data, and so
Well,
he's saying there's votes to be found. It's you need to find some votes.
this guy who was the electoral board, the head of the electoral board in Georgia or something like that, and the governor or something along those lines.
The attorney general.
Yeah, the attorney general. Well, this whole time Trump is saying this. The guy is saying, Mr. President, we have done these investigations you have asked. We have looked into these things, and this simply is not true. Trump would not hear any of it. He was going to take secondhand information over firsthand information because the secondhand information had been edited for his liking.
Because for some reason he thought it was different information that you haven't seen this. We've got different information that you haven't seen.
And the governor was like, no, we have seen the information that you have. And what we're saying is we have information that you have not seen or you are not taking into account for. And no matter, there was no answer he was going to listen to. And it came down to the point where Trump was like, he was like mafia talking the guy, like go and find me these votes.
He wasn't getting his way.
He was pissed off that he wasn't getting his way.
Yeah.
He had been told that he was in fact wrong. He refused to believe it. He knew the data proved that he was wrong. This guy, the attorney general, would have loved for nothing more than to give Trump that election. But the numbers weren't there. He tried his damnedest to find him these numbers, and it couldn't work without cheating. And he told Trump that there's nothing I can legally do. Like, this is the data. This vote is what it is. Trump said, we'll find it anyway.
Not in those words.
Not in those words, but that was this. He said it.
He did repeat his wish to he would look back into it and find the vote.
He wanted this man to reject his own to reject reality. He wanted this man to ignore reality and embrace his lie.
That we are finding out to be true in the aftermath. At this particular time, though, that was not proven to be the case yet. It was still up in question.
Wait, what was in question?
Whether or not everything had been looked into and everything was on the up and up and actually valid as it was and all that stuff.
Well, what told me that
at this period of time when the call was made, we can look at it through our history lens here, and we both know that it was all bullshit and he shouldn't have said the things that he said, and that it was he was wrong. He was fed wrong data, and he was choosing to believe that over the truth. The vast majority of the fucking population believes bullshit over the fucking truth.
Yes, but it's
hard for me to hold accountable to.
You can believe absolute nonsense, right? I can believe absolute nonsense. But when I am forcing you,
why you believe it, the problem.
I can believe all the nonsense I want, but when I'm forcing you to accept my nonsense, that is the problem.
He's acting like one of them. Yes, he's one of them.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, on multiple facets, on this and a few others.
Like this, to me, and it didn't help that years before this phone call even happened, he said that he would only accept the results of this election if he won.
Yes,
he said it out his mouth. Those words more than once.
Yes.
So was it a big surprise?
The most honest man that we've had.
Was it a surprise?
The most honest president.
I'll tell you. Was it a surprise to anyone when he didn't get the election that he claimed it was rigged and stolen? No, because he had been claiming it was rigged and stolen before the first vote was cast. He ran on losing.
And my question on that, he's been right about a few other key things, right? And he's told the absolute truth on a few other fucking key things. Was he lying about that? Or is he telling us the absolute fucking truth and we're still falling for it?
What do you mean?
You telling us, hey, this shit's fucking rigged. Look at this. You're so fucking stupid. You're going to vote for me and you're going to fight for me over and over and over again because this fucking system's rigged. Look how fucking well I can control this shit.
Yeah, that's a problem. You got to do something about him. Look at these problems he's showing us. Let's stop it.
But we're paying attention to him instead of the fucking system that he's controlling.
Well, I mean, look at what if it was just that, okay. But then you have what happened on January 6th.
Yes.
And that was only a practice run.
Focusing on him's not the issue. That's not, he is a fucking problem. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's not a problem. Sorry. But I'm saying that that's the wrong focus. Yeah, he's just the problem that should be showing the focus.
The point I'm trying to illustrate with it is I'm trying to show that his entire intention was all along was to take power, right? To me, it shows that his entire intention all along was him just moving pieces on a chessboard to give him a precedent to take it.
Honestly, I can't disagree with that. Even from the perspective that I was just trying to alliterate.
No.
It would fit right in because you'd almost have to. He's somebody who just looked at it like, you know what, this is a fucking chessboard. And I know how to play this fucking game. I can manipulate the fuck
I
out of this. I can do it. And he's come up there and told you right off the fucking bat, this is so fucking bullshit.
I was actually, when COVID happened, I actually expected him to take power then. To make a move to take power then. I think he does. Because look at what he wants to be the biggest and baddest, the greatest. It's going to be huge. You're going to love it. You know, he's still trying to prove to his dead daddy that he can be number one instead of the son that got all the love.
That's not the way to do it in America, though.
No. But he's not doing things the way they did it in America. He's doing things the way they did it in fascist countries.
He's doing it in a way that a base population wants it to happen, though, which is another problem. I don't think it's his own idea of what he's using to fuel it.
No, I think he's actually being puppeted to it. I think
he wants the love, the admiration, the power, but I think he wants it as it should be. I don't think he wants to be the totalitarian dictator kind of power. I think he wants to actually have the presidency and go down in history as the best president ever. I was the greatest president ever. I don't think he wants.
See, I think Trump. I feel like a lot of it. Trump. I think he does want it, but
I think what he's doing is to do that to get his goal. I think he's realized that he can surf this wave, and if he uses that, he can get, because it's a population of America. Maybe we can sweep that over America, and I think that's the direction it's going, and it's not looking good from the optics side.
Yeah, and he's going to use it. If he ever gets power again, he will use this whole thing.
Just so happens to be the base population that he's using is the fucking problem, the whole entire problem.
And he'll use this whole election thing. If he ever gets in there again, he will radically change the democratic process.
Probably so.
And that's not good. You know, he wants. I've always felt like he wants to be an autocrat, but the way I look at it is, playing like magic or chess, right? I feel like Trump is just somebody that's building the seat. I think if Trump takes power and he's able to do this autocracy shit that most of those people on the left
I'm worried about where we will be in the next 4 to 8 years if the wrong Democrat gets in power. I am concerned about if we will still be America in the next 4 to 8 years if Trump gets in power.
I'm questioning whether we'll be America in the next 4 to 8 years regardless. I think it's mostly out of our hands.
I think we will be if the wrong Democrat gets in charge, but I think we'll be very different.
I think we're going to be the Republic of China, so I don't think it's going to matter. Like I said, I don't think it's going to matter who wins at the end of the day. But I don't want Trump in there.
I don't know how fast that happens.
Yeah, it's a matter of how it's going to look. How what are we going to be stuck in? How will we be judged?
That's a phone call being some kind of an illegal way to actually manufacture votes. I don't think it crossed that line. I think it was really close. I can see
as far as legality, as far as legalities go,
said. I mean,
as far as legalities go, to me it's kind of gray, right? But when it comes to intent and to showing frame of mind, it's gold, right? To me, that's where its value lies. Is it shows that regardless of what the truth is, this is what Trump wants, and if Trump don't get what he wants, there's going to be consequences. That's a through line through his entire presidency, but through his whole fucking life. You know?
Yeah, if you don't work with me, I'm gonna cut you off. We all do that.
Yeah. I mean, to a degree.
And I get it that on a political scale, that shouldn't be, something that's cool.
That's not something to celebrate.
If anybody wants to talk about political adversaryism and shit, you got to look where Trump took it to first. If you didn't do exactly as he said, what happened to your political career?
And and so we get to this point, and like I said, it's not only Trump. You also have all the sycophants. Meanwhile,
like I said, they were sick ass losers, man. They're not just bad losers; they were sick losers.
Meanwhile,
man, they pulled every fucking string they could possibly pull, all the way to the
separately, but not entirely unrelated. During this time,
they made up a few.
There is a lot of chatter and ramping up of activity in groups like Patriots Prayer and the Three Percenters and the Proud Boys, QAnon. There's a lot of chatter about this whole Stop the Steal thing, and all these people are like planning in these back, like 8chan and whatnot. There's like records of these people planning going down there to defend Trump. And I've actually listened to interviews of people, and they to this day believe that they were actually protecting their commander-in-chief, their president. They held on to that kind of militant outlook. Now, was Trump driving them? Up to a point, no, I don't believe so. But when they got there on the 5th, Roger Stone addressed the crowd on January 5th. And he made a lot of speech about how electors changed and people could take electors out and have their own new elector. They could throw out these fake votes, and that Mike Pence had the power to do this, and
Yeah, I can understand.
And then he was like, "We're going to be down there with you tomorrow, shoulder to shoulder." And then the next day, this gets these people. They're already riled up. They're riled up since fucking Charlottesville in 2016.
This is a problem. This points to a problem for some people being book smart, but without common sense.
And plus, you have that. This leads into that algorithm shit, right? These echo chambers are growing, and it's leading people to chats where they're planning this shit.
Well, some book nerd read that shit. I can't remember the fucking article in the Constitution, but there is something in there that if you read it only as an intellectual and only by the vaguest, the actual strictest of fucking terms of the words, that you can understand that the states have the power to change their electoral delegates. If you ignore the rest of the
it's that sovereign citizenship thing, man. It's that type of thought.
If you ignore the paragraph following that exactly lays out what the states can.
It's that sovereign citizen frame of thought that I was talking about earlier, right?
It's somebody that had a bright ass idea and forgot to think it all the way through before they opened their mouth, and some dumbass took it and ran because some smart motherfucker said something. Okay. That's a problem with us, with some fucking intellectual folks, that some fucking times the philosophical thought overrides the logical thought and gets to the surface first. Mm-hmm. and then you actually have to start going through the logic of it and figuring out where you should wind up. Somebody didn't go through that process on that.
And people were also getting riled up at churches, like evangelical churches across America started saying that the election had been stolen and that God had intended for Trump to be president. There's like evangelicals you can find now that are saying that
all these stories with all these things where these statistical probabilities should not have fucking happened. And if all you did was a fucking quick little Google search and all you did was look at the first fucking thing that popped in your mind and all you did was look at it and it verified that there was, but you didn't actually read the paper that showed how it happened, then you are misinformed and you're on the wrong side of the fucking thing. Because you didn't read the answer. All you did was look at the question.
You didn't actually, you look to see if somebody else has asked that question, you know?
Yes. And that is where we were at this particular point, is a bunch of people looked at the fucking question. They didn't fucking look far enough to find the answer, and they start going off. And, you know, they've never went back to look at the damn answer.
So you have all these people who are in a frame of mind that their election was stolen, and most of these people, like I don't know if I can say most, but a lot of these people are not like democratic people. They're not. They actually support an autocracy. There's a whole thing. You know, heaven on earth is not. Heaven would not be a democracy. You know, there's a lot of these people, and they don't want a democracy, but they kind of hide behind that.
They don't want a democracy.
No, they don't. Their idea of paradise does not involve democratic ideals. So yeah,
I'm dead serious about that. You don't want a democracy.
So on the 6th, these same people were there after, you know, Roger Stone. I mean, there's no way it's a coincidence that he was, you know, involved with the whole Russian scandal thing one way or another. And then appears on the 5th, riling up all these like anti-government stop the steal rallies. And then on the 6th, you have
on the fucking 6th, it shows up there. I can't fucking tell if it was, you know, was it, you know, the actual right wingers? Was it Rantifa acting as right wingers? Was it FBI acting as the fucking right wingers, fucking to rile it up? Was it counterterrorism? I got no fucking idea anymore. There's so many.
They started riled up. Like, they didn't go down there and then got riled up. They were riled up when they left home. These people left home with the intent of taking back America, of making, you know, they went there with the intent of taking back the presidency for Trump. You know, they went there with that expressed intent time and time again. When you look at the things they said, when you look at the people who actually did it, the things they said, there's no line that draws to Trump told them to do it exactly, but they were there doing it for Trump. You know, time and time again, these people like fully admit what they did, and they videoed it. They made videos of it. They were proud of what they were doing and why they were there. They truly believed that they were taking over the United States government because it had been corrupted by, for some reason, Nancy Pelosi was the number one thing, but Pence needed to be hanged too. They built a gallows outside to hang Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi. They smeared feces on the walls. They carried a Confederate flag in there. I mean,
the gallows couldn't have hung an effigy.
No, and they wouldn't have needed to. They had plenty good railings inside the Capitol building. But
it's the way you said it, the same way that the media was spreading it. I won't let that stand, bro. That fucking gallows was 2.5 fucking feet tall. It couldn't have hung a child.
What, the gallows? Hold on a second. That is not. No. They built. It might have been flimsy. But the thing is, whether the gallows...
There was one photo of it that makes it look like a full-size gallows, man. That fucking gallows was small. It wouldn't have hung a child.
And whether there's a gallows or it's just a symbolic effigy of a gallows.
Now, you're going to rile people
you are
up
still
to riot in the street. It's no different than what happened in the fucking election before.
They are still going in. Nobody was smearing feces and flying Confederate flags in the Capitol in the election before.
It was a different group of people rioting.
They didn't try to overthrow the government. They rioted.
Yeah, they didn't choose the target of their fucking.
They weren't trying
to destroy everything else around them.
They weren't trying to go in there and execute elected officials. There's no other word for that.
No, they were just stealing everybody else's shit.
Yeah, that's theft.
Wait a minute. They were trying to kill elected officials. Where was it? In Seattle, where they surrounded and barricaded in the courthouse and tried to set it on fire with people inside?
That's fair. That was also in 2019, and that was not fucking going in the Capitol building.
But there's a likeness there of the types of the crowds that we're talking about here.
And if we want to talk about lightning, it's fine. Let's talk about the responses, right? There was a huge police response to what happened there to happen all across the country during the BLM protesters. When BLM protested at the Capitol, before the protesters even got there, they had riot gear, they had all the shit they needed to keep the Capitol from getting overthrown. When the fucking rednecks got there,
absolutely. You think we don't
when
have
the goddamn
shit there to stop anything as soon as it starts?
And in this crowd of people at January 6th were military people.
That's a good
police
point,
officers.
bro. That is a very good fucking
were
point.
in this fucking crowd. So there was no defense against it. So you can't tell me it's the same.
Seriously, you think there ain't enough damn defense in DC to squash anything that starts at the minute it starts?
So tell me how it wasn't a fucking attempt at overthrowing the government.
Tell me how
you can't tell me it's the same.
The minute it started.
Because it was a fucking fascist coup. There were people, elected officials inside that were during the whole process were trying to get those fucking votes overturned. The whole time.
This is something I hadn't thought about, but that was a good point when you were talking about how much military and shit is there. Yeah, you're right. That is probably the most heavily defended place on this fucking nation's grounds. It ain't even part of this nation, so anything goes there, honestly.
And you know why? Because there were members of the police forces and shit that were in this riot.
Even if they were, bro, you know damn well they've got enough shit on reserve to squash any fucking thing that happens the moment it fucking happens.
Right.
Then,
so you have people high up in levels in on the fucking plan.
You have a lot of people that were derelict of their duties.
Not derelict in their duties, in on the plan.
Somebody said we don't need that much security around this place at this point in time.
They were warned. I've listened to people from the Department of Homeland Security who warned the Capitol Police.
Things I can't take the time to look up, but there is a reference to Trump requesting additional security for the inauguration, and Pelosi denying it.
Except security for his end of it, not for that.
He wanted the National Guard posted everywhere. He wanted to increase the security presence around the entire complex.
And I bet you we'd be living in a different world.
The idea that come out of that from the side that I got the most feed was that it was going to be seen as some kind of a push toward the dictatorship line, and
I can think of there is one I can think of a perfect example.
So many investigations at the time, nobody
Operation Valkyrie.
As it may be, there may be valid reasons why it was.
Yeah, there's a historical
in politics.
No. There's a historical precedent for what you're saying there. Operation Valkyrie was an attempt from within fascist Germany to overthrow its government.
Maybe they were worried about something like that. That could have been a concern. No fucking clue. Okay. The only thing I can say is I know that I've seen something that makes me recollect. I can't pull it up to show it at the moment to call it as a fact. So I have to go on memory, which I don't base as a fact ever. Especially my own. But I do seem to recollect this. I can't look it up because it's one of those things that it took forever to find. About the email communication from Trump to Congress to get additional National Guard presence in D.C. and was denied. And that's as far as I know anything, even as I can know it from memory. Don't know why the reasoning of it.
And like I'm stepping into the speculation zone here. I'm stepping into the speculation zone here and saying that if he had gotten that National Guard support.
Yeah, could he? Yes, I get it. It may have very well been a very valid fear that we weren't going to.
All throughout his presidency, he tested the waters of what he could do.
However, the response
with the National Guard. It was usually
to it when we saw it was going out of control there. Why in the hell wasn't it called in
above his head, kind of, right?
Yeah, why wasn't it called in to squash the shit that was going on?
Because people were in on it to go on. People were in on it.
It was from both sides. Let's let this play out to this particular point. Could have been. I seriously, like we said, I think it's the two people playing chess. You think it's we don't have a choice and people, it doesn't matter which side we choose. I think it does matter which side we choose, and it's very, very different games, but the choices we're given to pick for that doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter who's there for whichever side.
Yeah, I'm not saying the issues don't matter
on that side.
Yeah, I'm not saying the issues they talk about don't matter.
Whatever they say they want to do doesn't really fucking matter. Whatever you elect them to do doesn't fucking matter.
It's what they actually do.
Pushing the money into that's what fucking matters.
Yeah, you look at what they actually do, and it rarely matches anything they said.
So the only way to really control it is to decide who the hell you're spending your fucking money with. Find out what corporation is pumping the most money into the politics that you like, and go spend money with them, and don't spend money with the opposing fucking corporation, which is going to cut out about half.
Which is why I really had big hopes for Bitcoin.
I don't know if that can solve our problem.
It would take every dollar that you take out of circulation takes it away from
Well,
them.
you'd just be buying your Mars bars with fucking Bitcoin instead of an American dollar.
Yeah, there's
Crush America, but I mean,
you still have Mars.
You'd still have the corporate shell
still have
that's
Mars
running
bars.
it, which is the problem to begin with. America's not the problem. Capitalism's not the problem. Corporatism is. We got to get corporates back out of our fucking politics. They are fucking businesses, not people.
But yeah, so and there's been a lot of like discussion over whether or not Trump told these people to go do what they did. And while he said some things that, looking at it from the people that were there's frame of mind, kind of, but nothing, I don't think he directly was directing traffic.
Yes, if all you do is look at the words that the man says, I'll give it. There's no way that I can put a defense to it at all. If all we're basing it on are the words that the man said, man's a horrible orator.
He said every word all the time.
I don't have a tongue for bullshit. I'm not a bullshit artist. Unless I'm trying to sell you something, of course. Then I can learn.
I'm not good at that.
It's all timeshares for a living.
Look at us not making money with our podcast because I'm a horrible salesman.
Well, I got to figure out how to market this. I knew how to market timeshares. I knew how to. People want to go on vacation. Everybody does. Everybody wants to go on vacation. Everybody doesn't want to hear me.
Everybody wants to tell their secretary, I got a nice little place in Aspen.
No. I wasn't that guy.
What? Yeah, you were.
No. I was worse. That guy was actually there talking to you at the resort. He was trying to sell you something. I was the asshole cold calling your ass after I mailed you a package. And then was telling you, get up and go get that package over there. We need to take a look at that. I didn't ask you to. I told you to. And you did it. Because you're human and you're doing what you're told.
Well, I'm kind of the contrarian. I'd be like, nah.
Yeah.
But no, I did enjoy it.
You are. 30% of you are like, wait a minute, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, the best,
hang up. Fine.
The best thing they did, man, for the timeshare thing was the free weekend getaways. Like, I didn't mind those. Like, sure, I'll sit through your fucking seminar. But
half of you that I was calling had already been a sucker before. You already own one. About half of my sales are people that already own one.
Well, now it increases your chance of getting one in the pool, see?
Yeah.
You draw from a larger pool. Yeah. But yeah, and like I said, at the end of the day.
So yeah, afterwards he was saying bullshit. All right, yeah, I'd have to nail him too. But if you look at who we're talking about, unfortunately, you have to take care of the character of the person. He's not a politician. He's not going to use politics speak. He's going to use normal human businessman speak. Okay?
That's a contradiction of terms. Normal human business person. I find that to be a contradiction
it's just
of
a larger
terms.
bracket.
There might be an overlap. There's a Venn diagram, sure.
It's just a larger bracket. Definitely a combined filing. But when you take the person into context with the words and the intent, like I said, if you just look at the words and try to apply intent, then you're going to get one result. If you imply the character with the words and imply intent, you can get a different result.
Yeah. Like I said,
With the information that he had on hand that these people were around him were feeding him. Now, Donald Trump on himself is a complete fucking moron. He always relies on smart people around him to feed him data to make a fucking decision.
well, that's his thing,
And
though.
then those smart people around him tell him that's probably not a good idea.
That's the thing, though. He doesn't actually want smart people around him. He wants yes men around him. There's a difference.
He wants smart people that think like him.
Yes men. He wants people that will agree
Not
with him, that will give him
necessarily
what he
yes men.
wants.
No,
Look
not
at what
yes men.
happened to James Comey.
Not yes men. Not yes men. Not yes men. Not
Look
yes
at
men.
everybody he put in power.
Look at the years of apprentice to find out he doesn't like a yes man.
He loves a yes man.
No, he doesn't like a yes man.
Oh my God. We're talking about the same Donald Trump, yes?
Yeah.
That man loves a yes man. I mean, listen to it. Hell, even look at his conversation in Georgia, that phone conversation. He wants a yes man. He doesn't want facts. He doesn't want a smart person. He wants somebody to agree to him. That's right there. Right there alone is proof of his yes man. The whole fiasco of James Comey. Because James Comey would not agree to be
That
his
phone call
man.
ended with them agreeing to meet again to go over the data. And like I said, he had data that he was under the impression this guy didn't have. So he was holding on to that. You never let go until you're presented with overwhelming evidence. And
He was refusing to. He would say, we'll get together and we'll look at that. But in the meantime, I really need you to find, he'd agree to look at it, but only as like an afterthought. The main thing was, agree with me first.
The very end, yeah.
That he wants a
You
yes
always
man.
start off a negotiation like that. You start off a debate like that. You never admit defeat in a fucking debate.
Like, we could go into a whole nother day of me pointing out person by person of yes men he wanted. Marjorie Taylor
Even
Greene
if you
is
don't
an
believe
example.
in the premise, you never give up in a debate. Okay?
But he still
I'm not
surrounds
saying that
himself
he's
with
a
yes
good
men.
debater either. He surrounds him people with like-minded individuals that are more likely to be yes men, but he does not, in fact, like a yes man. He doesn't like somebody that agrees with him just, in fact, to agree with him. He likes people that are ambitious in the same direction. You're driving down the same road, basically. He doesn't like people that are fucking, only coming here because I'm here. You want to do all this, but, you're only coming here to get. He doesn't like that kind of shit. As from his years in Apprentice, anyway. We're talking about the same person. He was doing that in Apprentice. He's going to carry that same mentality. I mean, yes, that's a televised show. You think the person that's in that is a different fucking person? No. The stuff he's allowed and disallowed to say is a lot different. But the foundation part, you're going to get a lot of the little quirks about who he fired, who he didn't fire. And he fired yes men left and right.
No, he fired no men left and right.
He
And maybe in The Apprentice, I can't really say.
He fired people that disagreed that in a premise that he was going in the wrong direction on something. He wanted people to follow that direction, but to have their own ways and ideas to get the goal done, not people that would change the goal. If you weren't for the goal, then you were out. So again, you kind of got to be a little bit of a yes man on, yes, I agree with the end goal. But it wasn't every idea that he had that you had to agree with him kind of a thing.
No, it was like, he wants to hear
opposition to my goal, you're out.
He wants to hear, you're right, Mr. President, and here's why. That's what he wants to hear, and anything else is lie. It's a fake news.
It's when, no, your goal is unattainable. That's when you get cut off.
I mean, even his statement about about he'll only accept the election results if he wins. That right there shows he's only going to accept information.
Very few of them truly do.
You know, I mean, do I think he absolutely wanted to take over? Yeah. Do I think he still does? Sure. I don't think he's the big threat, though, if he does. Like I said, I'm more concerned about who's going to take over after him if he manages to consolidate power like that. He can do plenty of damage, sure, but I'm more concerned about the next one.
Yeah, because it's opening. It would open the door for a whole lot of bullshit to come through.
Yeah. So I think that's where we can pretty much leave on Trump, right? Like, he's got all these charges coming. States are refusing to let him be on the ballots at this point. We don't know where that's going to turn out.
Well, we got to get to the January 6th part. We got to at least touch on that a little bit.
Oh, we did.
A little bit more about his actual involvement and whether or not he was, part of it.
Oh.
Yeah, we brought into it. Yeah, we touched in there about that the event happened and whether or not he brought defenses in, and we kind of pushed off onto a rabbit hole about that.
I think that he wanted it. I don't think he directed it per se. I definitely think that he gave them what they needed to hear to go on with it. You know what I mean? And I feel like had they taken it, had they taken power and given it to him.
The reports were that there was no march planned, but we now know that there was indeed a march planned.
Yeah, we have
after the speech to go to the Capitol. It was, and it was filed as permitted and all that shit. Which is, so the idea of Trump sending them over there when he said, and we know he's going to go to the Capitol and let the voice be heard.
Yeah. There was
rather him inciting it because that was planned to begin with.
There was like dog whistly rhetoric he was using, but I stopped short of saying that he told them to go do what they did.
Again, it's another thing that's pretty hard to find is that exact speech. I mean, I could go through the archives and probably find it relatively quick, but he was telling them to go and have their voices peacefully be heard. And
I think actually
after he found out that there was violence coming out, did send out a damn tweet, hopefully for people to back the fuck out. Not those words, but he did send a tweet that got buried and lost for 2 fucking years. And
I think Trump was only kind of a part of the coup plan, right? I think that actually the shit that happened at the Capitol had more to do with Roger Stone, Steve Bannon. And
that wasn't part of the whole thing about getting the another batch of electoral college folks, electorates put into place. Yes. Was he part of trying to get Pence into doing some kind of shit that was misread in the Constitution, that he had some kind of power that he didn't have to change a vote somewhere along the lines or something? The only time his vote would matter is if there was a tie, an actual tie, and then the vice president would have a vote.
Yeah. But they felt like he could just discredit the whole thing.
Yeah, for some reason.
And then, Mike Pence, who I hated to this point, became the voice of reason.
Again, somebody misread some smart person misread something or said something, and what if, and somebody took it out of context. I don't know how.
Said a stupid thing in a smart way.
Something was misinterpreted to where somebody thought something that was untrue and fed that information to the wrong people that started making policy decisions on this. So they put up the fight under the pretense that they had some kind of decision of power that they didn't have. But they thought they were right. They thought they had this avenue open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, based on, they were talking about lawyers and shit, and people that are actually
right, and I'm trying
way smarter than us.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that there's actually a group of people who circulate, who are part of Trump's.
There was a whole other group over there that was
like his little circle of friends.
Other groups over here,
but
hold on,
Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, and
there was
some other guy, and Rudy Giuliani,
about something going to happen
drove
here.
these social media things.
Talk about it. I think that was the whole Mike Pence changing the vote.
Yeah, they drove this. They made these people believe that through social media campaigns, through Steve Bannon's
that we still had hope. We still had a way.
Yeah, in fact, the day before Trump, on January 5th, I had said it earlier, Roger Stone went up to these people who he had helped organize this thing for them to be there. He went to these people and he started these things about, you can throw out these electors. You can have Mike Pence throw out the vote. He got them riled up for this. I'm not saying Trump had as big a deal in it as a lot of people focus on. I think Trump was who was going to be sitting in the throne at the end. But the people around him were the people who I think were actually pushing for a coup.
Yeah, now were these people misinterpreting that shit on purpose, hoping to win on a technicality kind of a thing? I don't know.
I think they were playing on stupidity. They knew people
that may very well be because
dumb enough to
they've been playing on stupidity the whole damn time.
Yeah, just like Jerry said, I just kept crawling and it kept working.
But I haven't seen anything that shows that an actual attack was planned. I've seen some people, there's some little text with some little redneck groups that we're going to rile up and
those groups
not to the level of an actual planned attack.
Well, that's how it worked, right? The plans first showed up on these like subreddits, on these Telegram channels, and on places like I don't like to either, and places like 8chan, right? And then what happened from there is
individuals to actually pull me those very crucial pieces of information and say, this is what this says. And now we know this link was actually there to show that this was an intent that was proven beforehand and not yet.
And Steve Bannon and Roger Stone both were putting stuff out on 8chan and Reddit and shit like that. Driving this type of fervor.
The ones that I've seen on that were like, you don't give up hope now. We still have an avenue to win this. We're going to stop the steal. I see the fervor. I see the pumping up of the people, and I get that.
And they use that from there on. All the messages you see afterwards, all these small little text group messages, like, we're going to go up there on the 6th. This all was like spreading out, right? This happened all over the place.
I just haven't seen the smoking gun that links all that fervor to a riot.
Yeah, an intent to a riot. I don't know, but the people you're talking to, right? The Roger Stone, Giuliani, they're no idiots.
You're also talking to somebody that has done less and been charged with worse crime.
Yeah. So you understand, right? Like, is there?
I stood up to ask for a phone call and was charged with enticing a riot to impede the proceedings of a particular courthouse.
Bullshit. It happens.
Standing up after he called recess to ask if I can use the phone that I was granted to use 3 hours previous. Okay. So I know how bullshit can be blown out of proportion to say you're enticing a riot to interrupt the proceedings of whatever bullshit you want. So having been on the other side of this, on a very small scale, mind you, I can see where these people have been given a charge they don't necessarily deserve because of somebody else's perspective.
Well,
because a handful of people out of a mass riot go in and do some stupid fucking shit with some crazy ass idea that they're going to affect some kind of weird ass fucking shit. Does not.
Had they been better armed, they could have.
The other 500,000 fucking people there are insurrectionists.
No.
It does not mean that the other 500 people that entered the building are insurrectionists. Trespassers, maybe.
The ones who want to go in there and disrupt the government.
The people that were banging on the closet door trying to get the people that were hiding for their fucking life, those people I got an issue with.
Yeah, okay, so That was most of the people that were inside doing this shit. There's so many of it, so much of it. There's so many hours of video.
The problem. There is enough of them that it is a concern. It is a problem. It's a concern.
And see, that's how that works, though, right?
The day.
These radical cells have a few people at the center who are really fucking hardcore.
And that's what I believe it was. A small little bullshit attempt at possibly what you'd call an insurrection because of the definition of the word.
When you have people,
was it a large scale coup attempt? No.
When you have people like Giuliani and Roger Stone speaking directly to these small groups of heavily influential hardcore fucking like extremists, which that's been proven, right? You know, when you have this going on, when you have them talking to them, and these people then have all these these people go to storm the Capitol, that's a coup. That's an attempt. They're using these people's stupidity as a weapon. And had they been better armed, it would have fucking worked.
I've seen the shit where they were riling them up and wanting them there to
Did they know specifically what was going to happen? I don't know. They knew there was going to be an effect.
They knew there was going to be an effect, yes. They knew the people were going to be there. They knew they were going to fucking rip up a friend.
We didn't know what was going to happen when we set off the first atomic bomb, but we knew something was happening. We knew it would affect some sort of change.
And riots have been so fucking effective for the last 8 years, but previous to that. Well, 4 years, sorry. So, I mean, if you're going to try to wield somebody else's tool for the first time, you're probably going to mess up a little bit. You're not going to know how to wield it. You know? So he used the wrong fucking people. He wanted the most effect, so he...
See, I'm not putting that all squarely on Trump.
No, not Trump. No, Giuliani and the guys that were going out to these other organizations to say, "Hey, we need you there to be part of the mass and you show your support." And I think that was the intent. I think that was the extent of the intent. I just don't think that they realized just how dangerous those assholes are that they were asking to show up to show their support to.
See, I would agree to that had there not been years of reports from the Department of Homeland Security about these particular groups and what was happening. Also, like I said,
so you mean the president's supposed to actually start listening to those fucking reports?
I mean, for fuck's sake, it would be a nice change, wouldn't it? I'm not saying he's the only one to ignore it. I'm just saying they knew it was a possibility, right? I think that's how they knew who to talk to.
I was talking about humans. Bad decisions.
I think those DHS reports basically gave people like, Roger Stone a list of contacts. Like, these are the people we want to talk to.
Am I saying we shouldn't charge these folks with inciting a riot? No. I just don't think it was an actual fucking insurrection. I think it was impromptu.
I think there was insurrection happening at the same time as other shit.
Yeah, I think the quote-unquote insurrection, by definition only, was some fucking impromptu bullshit. Somebody fucking just whipped themselves out of common sense.
I think it was more planned than that.
I think it was about as planned as a fucking churchgoer speaking in tongues. It made about as much sense in the decision afterwards.
Again, why do that unarmed? Woefully unarmed.
That's where I'm at with. That's why I'm saying.
I've always said, the biggest thing is, why do this so woefully unarmed?
I think even the people that were involved in beating down the fucking door, hunting for Pelosi to drag her out in the goddamn street,
I think they would have.
Didn't have that fucking. I think they would have too.
There's no doubt in my mind.
But I don't think they had that idea until 5 minutes beforehand. I don't think they showed up to do that.
They might not have showed up to do that, but the people who brought them there showed up to do that.
I don't think none of them showed up with that intent. I really don't.
There's some,
I just think you
haven't
over,
seen,
man. I think humanity took over. We fucking just went back primal. The frenzy. Just like you've seen a fucking church.
I'm saying that
preacher
happened.
gets that fucking rhythm.
But
and gets the whole damn congregation standing up and jumping up and down, and all of a sudden some weirdo over there.
You just said it right there, though. You just said it right there. That preacher gets these people riled up because he knows something like that's going to happen.
But he has no fucking idea what the hell that bitch just said.
No, none whatsoever. But he knew that he was getting these people riled up for this effect. I'm saying that you are right. People just fucking snapped and went nuts, but they were put there on purpose to snap and go nuts.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it wasn't just
They were there for
happenstance.
just in case plan A didn't work out. We got plan fucking B.
they
We're
were-
entice the fucking riot. And if we get enough fucking people rioting in the fucking streets, America's going to capitulate. We're going to give it to them any fucking way.
We agree on the January 6th insurrection.
I believe it was supposed to be just a riot in the fucking
I
streets
prefer to call it.
around the Capitol at the point of the problem.
I think it was just a piece of what was an attempted coup. I think coup is a better an attempted coup is a better
It's not a
description.
coup if the people are fucking. You're okay with people rioting if something goes wrong in their humanitarian life.
I'm okay with
Why is
fighting
it any
against tyranny.
different if the mass of a population is rioting over what they perceive is a mass wrong?
Well, because clearly it wasn't the mass of the population because he lost the fucking election. That's part of it.
It's close enough,
And-
and in every fucking election, to say that it's about 50-50 either fucking way.
But I mean, like I said, there's rioting, and there's people that are fighting against tyranny. I am all about fighting against tyranny and oppression.
It's now we're talking about a matter of perspective.
And now I have said many times, maybe even on the podcast, that while I disagree with why the January 6th
my point
rioters
is
did
as
it,
simple as it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. When Trump got elected, people rioted in the damn streets all over DC. Whenever any kind of injustice happens here lately, people start rioting in the damn streets. They don't riot where the fucking problem is.
no,
They riot in the damn streets.
I say they don't go far enough. Yeah, they always stop
You got a
short.
problem with the fucking police department? Surround the fucking police department.
I agree with you.
Stand beside every fucking cop car. Make them where they can't go out on the goddamn street. Stand at the door where they can't get in and out.
Make it so undesirable for them to do their job, they just stop coming to work.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I've always wanted.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am all about
And it's
all about it.
And it has consistently been, and I'm not saying it's wrong here, it has consistently been liberals, is progressives, leftists, by whatever definition there. It's always, not always, but it has
For the most part in
for
our
the most
history.
part been that group of folks.
Back to the Revolutionary
And we
War,
got-
it's always been
And
progressives.
there are separate groups of folks, leftists, progressives, and liberals. Separate groups all on the same side of, if you put a center divide from central to left and right politics kind of shit. Different groups of people, though.
Hell, even the Civil War.
So stop using liberal as a bad word, people. Stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah, we've always looked at liberty as a good thing. There's no reason.
You're the right's best fucking calling card, but it was the right that freed the fuckers. So it was fucking liberal fucking Republicans.
I think they were called something different at the time, Whigs or something. Some weird stupid thing.
Probably where rhinos came into play. Okay, but they were liberal Republicans. They almost had their own party, but they were liberal Republicans that fucking freed the slaves, you assholes. So you can't even stand on that. So give it up. Liberal is not a bad term.
It's always progressives.
Progressives is where I draw my line. Y'all guys need to slow the fuck down. I don't hate you, but man, slow the fuck down.
Well, but if there's no progressives, there's
Right.
there's
I
no
need
change.
you. I need you.
Yeah.
Or we'd be stuck with me
I
fucking
think-
chiseling on
Yo, I think really it sums up humanity for me. Is best summed up.
I'd still be sitting here with a pad and paper.
There's thinking Team America.
Even I progress.
You remember Team America?
Vaguely.
There's this guy in Team America who says, the movie, he says, there's 3 types of people in this world. You got dicks, pussies, and assholes. And, you know, dicks just want to go around fucking everything all the time, right? And pussies don't like dicks because they get fucked by dicks, right? But dicks also fuck assholes who just want to shit all over everything.
Good analogies.
You get where I'm going? You know, to me, that is a beautiful scenario of it.
When you've seen years of riots actually start producing results and shit, okay, y'all want to start rioting, you know, I can see I don't agree with it, but I can see the playground mentality here about, well, if you're going to play with those toys, we're going to play with those toys. So these guys tried to use that toy, and they didn't know how to use it. It got out of control on them. So was it right? Hell no. You know, I don't think any riots right. You know, you fuckers do it wrong.
They're doing it wrong. Well, nobody pays attention to the first evolution.
When natural course of politics and rules that we have built the society on that y'all fuckers want to live by, if that shit don't work, then yeah, it's time to riot to affect change. If the people actually agree that change needs to happen and for some reason policy is not allowing it.
And like I've always said about the January 6th rioters, right? Is
your local police department. Riot at your local police department. Not at the capital of your state's local Walmart or business district.
Unless you're rioting against Walmart.
Rioting against Walmart, riot at Walmart. Absolutely. Pick your fucking target. And hit your target. Don't be like fucking goddamn
Don't be Israel.
over there. Right?
Don't be Israel.
Bombing every fucking body because you're mad at one person. No.
And that's the way I look at people that both rioted in the wake of Trump's election and rioted in the wake of Biden's election, is they're dicks.
Yes. Should they be charged with inciting a riot and participating in riots and all that shit? Absolutely. If you can find them, charge them. They participated in a riot, and then it's against the law to riot unless the riot actually works.
Right. I'm saying that the rioters should be charged with rioting, but the people who put the rioters there in order to help overthrow the government should be charged with
inciting a riot.
That they should be in charge with attempted insurrection.
I don't think that the insurrection charge should be warranted because I do not believe there was an intent for actual insurrection there.
Well, what do you need? People saying I want to overthrow the United States government? Because they said that. I mean, what do you need to agree that it was an attempt to overthrow
Who said
the government?
that in what context?
Some of the rioters there. They were, like, yeah, we're going to take it over. We're going to give it back to Trump. This is our country. We're taking it back.
I won't take that.
Why not? That's the thing.
Fervor speech. You're not in your right mind when you're in fervor speech. When you're in groupthink, thought like that, you're not thinking with your own mind. You're already caught up in the groupthink. Well, I won't take it.
Then you take these people.
I want the plan where somebody come up with a plan. We're going to go in here. We're going to entice a riot so that we can gain access to the building to get Pelosi and drag her into the fucking street. We're going to go in there. We're going to actually construct a gallows that will support a fucking build
a good gallows, right?
I want to see the plan, and then I want to see where that plan got its roots from the actual political power. Not from a bunch of fucking rednecks like myself thinking I'm going to overthrow the fucking government.
No, it was people in political power that were driving campaigns for people that, not like you specifically, but yeah, driving the rednecks, right?
I want to at least find out that these people were aware. Person A was aware of person B's intent, if he had intent. Once you're there and you're in a fervor speech.
What I'm saying, the things that they were saying.
If you haven't been to church, go to church and
the things they were saying were things that were said to them by these people. they're repeating their talking points in this fervor speech.
Like I said, the only ones that I have seen.
Like I said, do I put that at Trump's feet? No, I put it at Rudy Giuliani, Roger Stone, and Steve Bannon's feet.
The ones that I saw were those communiques were talking about how that they could still get Mike Pence, even if the electors failed, that they would still be able to get Mike Pence. We still got a plan B here to get Mike Pence to turn the vote. Yeah, because he's got some kind of magical power or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a prophet, or would have been the prophet in the new religion.
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope, he was the voice of reason that day.
Yeah.
God bless Mike Pence. Hope he's doing okay.
I almost wish he would have actually ran.
God, I know, right? He would have been the better option.
Stop Trump. You got my vote.
Or the best chance to beat Trump is goddamn Mike Pence.
Yeah.
He's already been threatened to be hanged, so how bad can it get, right?
I've seen nothing to make me think that there was an actual intent by anybody that had a serious possibility to actually.
I think boots on the ground, there may have been a minority of people who had intent, right?
There may have been one or two that thought that maybe they could sneak in and do something if the riot broke out.
I think a good majority of these people were puppeted there.
But do I think anybody said, "Hey, y'all guys go over there, start a fucking riot, and then you guys, you're the alpha team, you go in and do this fucking strike, and we'll be able to make this happen"? I don't see it.
There was talk like that amongst some of the Proud Boys, but not from higher ups connected to Trump. No.
Oh, I can see a lot of fucking Plan A, Plan B scenarios similar to that dossier that Clinton had that showed what would happen if this in the if worst case scenario.
But was there
I can see a lot of paperwork being laid out where we could plan for this scenario. If this happens, what do we do? I can see a lot of paperwork being drawn out for all kinds of plans but was any of them a plan to be enacted? That's what I'm saying. I see nothing that says that there was a planned insurrection, a planned coup. I see nothing there. I see that there was an intent to entice a riot, to bring riots in the streets, to let our voices to be heard. That was all the talk that I see. To stop the steal, let your voices be heard. We got to be there in the streets. It was, from what I've seen, it was supposed to be nothing more than it would have been like Seattle.
I'm saying these people,
you're being the actual target of the problem.
You're right. They intended for a riot to go off here, right?
They intended to seize the Capitol by actually fucking putting people there so much, rioting in the streets, that it became effectively ours, the people's, just like they did in the few blocks up there in Seattle. It was, I think.
Yeah.
The people descended and took over some territory. Why didn't they take over the police department if that was what they were pissed off about?
I think they did.
They took over a couple of blocks.
They took over a good portion of the city. But yeah, like I said, the first, anybody being directly, there being a lot of direct plans from high up to lower down, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that.
I think that was the extent of the plan. I don't think anybody planned on anybody popping off.
I think that those people were put there and put into that fervor state of mind on purpose in order to enact a larger plan that didn't come to fruition, be it the lack of National Guard support, be it whatever.
I think they wanted to whip it into a fervor to cause destruction in the streets.
I think there were people
maybe even destroy the building itself, because that is the symbol of their issue. I actually, the one thing I applaud on the whole damn thing, even if there was an attempted coup or insurrection, was their fucking choice of target.
At least they hit the right place, right?
As misguided as their fucking intent may be, and as false as their premise may be, at least they were focused on the fucking problem.
Yeah, they weren't burning down a target, right? Yeah, I mean, like I said, and like I said before, I agree with
winners write history. Okay, if you have called it an insurrection, fine. And I air quoted, of course, but because it's by definition it is.
But I guess you're just not seeing the connections I've seen, right?
Admittedly, I mean,
That's-
I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
As far as I've seen, it was to an intent to entice a riot.
Well,
Definitely,
that riot had a purpose.
it did, as all riots do, to affect a change.
Well, yeah, but I mean that was the rioters.
If you're not going,
purpose.
it's a completely different topic of the riot. But if you're not going to accept a police officer shooting you, you riot in the fucking streets to affect change to stop police officers from fucking shooting you. I get that. I don't agree with your target in the fucking riots, but I agree with you rioting about the fucking fact you're getting shot in the fucking streets. These people believe the fucking vote was being stolen from them.
Yeah.
Wrongly. The problem I really have with it is they still believe it. But at that time, I didn't have a problem with it because it hadn't been confirmed, it hadn't been validated, it hadn't been fully investigated. The questions were still out there for all kinds of these problems that have now been answered, but not at the point, and nobody was bothering to look at it. The entire fight was about stopping the investigation long enough for the fucking the election to be certified.
So
That's my big problem with it is we stonewall the investigation. If you have that kind of a question, I don't care what side of the fence you are on. If you think it was stolen or if you are positive that it wasn't, you fucking investigate it, you find the goddamn truth.
and
Immediately.
what I'm saying is the
Don't
whole
wait.
fact, the whole election being stolen claim was an attempted fucking coup. That's what I've been saying about this. The whole thing, the whole story that they came up with about the election being stolen, the whole that fucking tape that Giuliani trimmed down to show Trump, the whole narrative was an attempted coup. That riot was just a part of it. That whole
You would
narrative.
have to expand the coup to include the day he come off the escalator.
No, you wouldn't.
He ran on the premise that the election was rigged.
They were able to just use that. They were able to use that. I mean, it worked, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, these people were believing wrong. And like I said, the people that win.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the people that were believing wrong, yeah, they were lied to. But by who? These are the people who I say are the insurrectionists who attempted to overthrow the United States government. People who knew better, lied, obfuscated, changed things, threw out wild theories in order to obfuscate it. It was an attempt at destroying it, an attempt at overthrowing it. There's no other way to look at that. They were intentionally lying. What for? What was the purpose of lying? For no other reason than to maintain power.
Well, we don't even know if the actual events truly occurred the way they did, let alone if somebody knew about the event beforehand to cause this. Because, you know, the person who admitted to making up the story about the mail truck going across state lines with a whole fucking tractor trailer full of
Yeah, he should go.
okay? He didn't come clean until way after this. Okay, so the facts weren't known beforehand. We were all operating on belief. Y'all know how bad belief is.
Yeah, nobody was looking at the facts.
Nobody was looking at the facts, and that was my problem with it. And what made me believe that there is something on the back burner of this shit that actually influences this stuff. Not the election was stolen bullshit that the MAGAs got, but way before and deeper. Completely different thing. Shadow government level shit. Puppeteers.
Oh, that's what I say about it.
Right,
about that
kind of shit. That kind of shit's what happened, and
that's what I say is going on.
We're totally looking at the wrong problem here, but that those people that are looking at that problem are looking at a wrong problem. The numbers ain't there, and those events have been since proven false. But at the time, they were operating on the belief they were true because they had information that had not yet been proven false. Problem hadn't been proven true yet either.
Yeah, that's like, he operating on this because God, and you can't disprove God.
It's okay to have a thought.
Yeah. Then that's why I'm saying these wild theories were being thrown out.
But to call the truth, you kind of have to have verification.
Unicorns stole the ballots. Why aren't you investigating these unicorns? Stop the certification. Nobody's talking about the unicorns.
And so this is where my deviation from the crowd of the whole stop the steal thing was from is people making these as the claims as facts. I was like, no, you're claiming it to be true, but it's just a thing that may be. There's a possibility of, but we don't have the information yet. Wait.
It's so far baseless.
But
You're making baseless claims because the outcome isn't what you wanted.
But when a subpoena, hey, we think there was some vote flipping. We think a machine's been flipping votes over here in a particular county. No, we're not going to let you look at the machine until after the election's been certified. And then when they get the machine, adjudication files are missing, supposedly, or hard drives are missing. Those, we're not investigating whether or not there's any truth to this bullshit.
Yeah, and what about
care enough to validate it?
What about the shit we've found out since then about like where Fox News, the people, were actually instructed to pretend that the election had been stolen and to push
now
that
we're
narrative.
starting to get into kind of like New Testament bullshit where it's so far removed from the actual truth I don't have trouble believing it.
Well, when there's fucking court documents and text messages that were released in discovery that say, yeah, we have to go say this, and then they knew what they were going on the news saying shit about the election, knowing it was false. That's why Tucker got fired. Because of his text messages where he's like, this is such bullshit. But he would get on the air because he was told to say that Trump won the election. When you look at stuff happening like that, and it's like, this is a clear attempt, right?
Yeah,
at manipulating.
With this select bit of data that may possibly point to indications that something may have
You
happened.
cause unrest.
So that people only look at the surface level of stuff and see that, well, there may be something to that, and they quit looking.
You create a narrative that causes unrest, right?
It's a problem with that.
You feed that unrest. There was an attempt made to bring in military. When you start to put all the pieces together, it makes more sense. There was an attempt to control the media, to propagandize about it, all based on this thing that the election's been stolen. That whole election's been stolen thing, to me, that is a fucking arrow pointing straight up to the top. Not Trump per se. I don't think he's quite smart enough to think this far ahead. But Giuliani, Bannon, and Stone, absolutely. Absolutely. I honestly believe that the whole thing, the people believing that it was stolen, the claims that it was stolen, because they were just shit that was being thrown out there, you can trace all of that back to those three people. Those three people are responsible, in my eye, for what happened on January 6th. Those people wouldn't have been there claiming the election was stolen had these three motherfuckers not been telling them it was. That, to me, is where the insurrection is. That, to me, is where the coup is. These people. Not the people rioting because they're being told they're believing the wrong thing because that's just what people do. They believe the wrong thing. But the people who are making the thing that they're believing in the first place. They're creating the narrative. They're creating the
like I said, I've got no problem with the definition of insurrection applying to the thing.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with that. I'm just saying I don't think it was an intended insurrection. Like I said, I honestly believe these people, had some person to give them an interpretation of the rules of law that led them to believe that they had avenues open to them. So they had a reason to believe that they needed support.
And the people that gave them that, those are the people who are truly culpable to me.
Well, if you think that the vice president has some magical power to, wave his hand and change a vote, okay?
If somebody
then the way you're going to persuade him is by showing that the people want that to happen. The way for some fucking reason, these people decided to show him that was to mass riot outside. If he didn't, you were going to hang you.
Well,
I don't think that.
Where did they get the idea? Where did they get the idea that Mike Pence had that? What put that idea in their heads?
Some fucking stupid, smart motherfucker talking to an idiot.
But no stupid, smart. But look, Charles Manson went to prison.
For talking to idiots. Smart motherfucker, somebody who is so fucking book smart that they don't know how to apply the fucking information that they have.
In fact, I think that's a good comparison I just made. Charles Manson to Roger Stone and crew, right? Took a bunch of idiots, told them a bunch of shit, got in their heads, and used them. That is what I think happened. To me, like I said, those not the people who were used, the people who are actually rioting, but the people who started them.
Well, who was the guy who found out and thought that Pence had that power? Who was the one that read the Constitution and gave them the idea that?
I think that came from Steve Bannon.
Changed the
I think that originally came from Steve Bannon, and then Roger Stone really pushed it because he's kind of like an influencer.
If he knows better or not, and if he knows better or not, and he still gave the information, then we have an intent for insurrection. And it was him that started it by his crazy ass ideas, knowing that these dumbasses don't know no better. If that's the case, then that would be what I would need to show, and where we would need to go to see that there's an actual insurrection. And that there was an intent for it. It's somebody that knows better and purposely directed something to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to prove whether or not Steve Bannon knew better, right? It's hard to say, I guess, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to say what somebody actually believes.
It ain't necessarily got to be him even. Like I said, this is an evolution of thought here. It ain't even necessarily going to be somebody in the room, somebody in that thing has to be smart enough to know that, no, that's wrong. Because literally, how many of us actually understand constitutional law? But we're all bound by it.
Honestly, if it would have been anybody,
used to be something when
Giuliani should have known better.
To know the Constitution to be immigrant.
Giuliani's a goddamn lawyer. He should have known better.
Somebody, yeah, you would think, but I've been asked a lot when I've fucking quoted the Bill of Rights.
Should have
even
known
part
better.
of the Constitution, but when I quote a Bill of Rights, somebody would counter with me if I happen to get a good argument in. Are you a constitutional lawyer? I don't know what the hell that has to do with the Bill of Rights, but okay, no, but
it was written in such a way.
It shouldn't have to be. It's in English. It's not written in legalese.
and like I said, so of the people in the room, Giuliani should have at least known better, right? Now,
think.
should have and did is a different thing, right?
Right.
But I believe he knew better.
To be able to know that
In
was
fact,
wrong, and still
it was proven that he edited that video of that woman putting ballots under the table and whatnot. He was the one who had that video edited. So that right there proves he did know better.
Not necessarily.
If he saw that the video, he had it trimmed down so that he could show what looked shady. You admitted yourself that video was trimmed down to look shady.
Yeah. Well, it was trimmed. It was trimmed down. Yes. And it made it appear to show something that actually didn't happen, and not necessarily that it was shady. I did not say that.
Well, that is a shady action.
Not necessarily. We don't know. I do not know who actually edited the video.
That was something that came out. That it was Giuliani had it
edited. Okay,
yeah.
But did he? Sit there over the guy's shoulder and say, cut this out, cut this out.
I mean, I'm sure he did.
Or did he say, hey, just cut out all the unimportant bullshit? Just have all the when there's nothing happening, all the empty space, just edit all that out. We know it was edited.
Well, then when he's seen that video, it's his duty to say, hold on a second, there's something you're not seeing here. That still is an intentional obfuscation of the truth, because when that video was re-shown, he knew what had been done. We know he had it edited to show that.
If he saw in one event that this is the event that I showed, okay? This is what I'm focusing on. This is what I think is the problem out of this fucking 4 hours of video. I pay an editor, anything that relates to this right here, I need you to edit in and focus in on this, right? You're not telling the editor to focus in on what this proves that, because that's not in your mind at the moment. That doesn't even pop into your fucking mind until way later when it comes into question. You're like, oh, fuck, I should have looked at that too. Too late now. That's where I got a real fucking problem. It was when after it came to light that it was a problem, but during the fact that they manufactured that video, could have been like, hey, this is the problem. Pay some fucking college kid on Fiverr to fucking edit the goddamn thing. I don't know how that happened. And then you present a fucking video that shows your case. There's no problem with that. It shows your case. Was he aware that there was other information there that would have shown that, wait a minute, that's not exactly what you're seeing there?
Yeah, that is
Did
directly.
he even pay attention to it, that it existed? Did he intentionally cut that out? That would give me intent. But just to that, it was there and he missed it and he focused in real quick on this. He should have been aware. It should have been, doubly checked it. I get it, and I can give him culpability. But to show intent on that, it was an intent to drive the insurrection is where I still have a problem.
To drive the insurrection, but to drive the narrative, for sure. It was.
I don't know if
It wasn't an intent. It was
to find out if it was an intent to hide information intentionally. Or was it just missed until afterwards and he started running with it and finally flubbed, not realizing how much damage it was causing.
Well, then it would have required him to back, but no,
fucking happened.
but he is still claiming.
That's my problem is the fact that he's still claiming, but I can look at it from the intent of the day and see it. But the problem is that the elephant in the room is he's still claiming.
Which leads more towards, like I said, I don't have a smoking gun per se, but I absolutely believe that there was an attempted coup. It failed, and I'm pretty sure they'll try again. Like I said, I don't think it was the people at the Capitol rioting that were.
I could possibly, you got to lend credit to the possibility that it was just that bad of a plan, but.
A lot of the people at the fucking Capitol all believe in talking snakes, right? So I don't put too much blame on them. It's the people who drove them.
They get told a little bit of surface information, a story that kind of fits some facts, and you go and look up the facts, and you can find the facts are there, but you don't actually read the facts, and you're still going to believe.
They've been trained to only believe Fox News. Or only believe
what the preacher tells you, man.
They've been trained to only believe that. Anything
you got
else
a book of facts there. The preacher tells you what's in that book of facts. Why are you going to read the book of facts? Read the book of facts.
Yeah, and like it's the same thing with the news. It's like a lot of these people, they were trained to believe that everybody but Fox News and stuff like that was lying to them. So when Fox News is pushing this narrative, and like I said, so to me, it all comes from 3, maybe 4 people, but definitely I believe 3 people that were trying to overthrow the United States government. Beyond that, I don't really assign too much, because again, I understand rioting. I understand trying to overthrow the U.S. government. Don't get me wrong.
I think in the voter thing, it was he saw something that looked important and focused on that, lost sight, didn't continue his little investigation because he's not an investigator. And in the riot shit on January 6th, I firmly believe it was a fucking riot that got out of hand and a couple of people got fucking fervored and went too fucking far.
Wow. It is so weird. You're fairly conservative, right? But you're a conservative optimist. Right? You believe that the best is, you want to believe in the best possible outcome. I am a liberal of sorts, a leftist or whatever,
Which is what
but I'm a pessimist.
Filled at a riot because somebody thinks that they were wronged.
I don't.
Crosses the field into an insurrection.
Again, I'm not accusing them of insurrection. They were merely tools. They were played. They were lied to. I feel sorry for them. Do they deserve to get in trouble just as much as anybody who rioted during BLM? Absolutely. I'm saying the real criminals are still walking around free.
Yeah.
I do believe there was an attempt at insurrection. I think the Capitol was a part of it, but that nobody at the Capitol was a real part of it. You know what I'm saying?
If we're calling playing the system to its fullest extent an insurrection, then we got to start with the first fucking politician, honestly. I mean,
when I send my killer death robot to Mumbai, on civilization,
anybody that
doesn't
deviates
know.
from the words of the Constitution itself is causing a goddamn insurrection. Because they're trying to change what the system is.
Yeah, I'm not calling the people who were actually at the Capitol insurrectionists. I'm not calling that an insurrection. I'm saying that happened as a result of insurrection. It was part of an insurrectionist plot.
And so if any of the things that led to those decisions being made were shown to be intentionally falsified to direct it, absolutely. We'll find out eventually.
Yeah,
We'll never believe it because it'll be in a bunch of other bullshit stories that, but
this is from the last several months of me watching and reading and listening to so many different back and forths about the different levels of this. And very quickly I was done with the protesters, right? I was
personal
over
connections talking back and forth is,
the people who were actually at the Capitol
at every fucking point in time. I mean,
I quickly realized that the problem wasn't the riot per se, it was why they were rioting. And how much of that was on purpose. And the more I dug into it, the more and more I'm finding out it seems like it was on purpose. Like they didn't know the riot would do this, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, the riot was definitely on purpose.
they knew what
they knew it was happening. They knew it was going to be there, and they knew if they could whip it into a frenzy that they would get rioted in the streets, similar to all the other riots that have been happening.
To me, those people are responsible for an attempted insurrection or coup. The ones that directed all that. Now, finding those smoking guns is more difficult. We'll see as time rolls on. Every day there's a little bit more coming out. Again,
the winners will definitely write the rules on what actually is history.
Yeah, what the definition of is.
Again, I kind of lean toward the side that if they were under the impression, a legitimate impression, as misguided as it was, that they had one last ditch effort to influence one person to make a vote, then having a large population outside demanding one vote from the people to that person is pretty much the core of what America is.
Sure.
That is the core of a republic. That even a democratic process can't stomp on the little man. Even if you're not the vast majority, you still have the voice to speak your mind.
And that makes
up into the furthest extent of a law. So if they thought they were still exercising this within an extent of a law,
yeah, I don't fault them. The ones I fault,
even the ones that were, like I said, even Giuliani and them that were, getting ready to pump the people up to a frenzy for a fucking riot. If the intent was just to pump the people up to get them into a frenzy, to yell and scream and all that shit, to get Pence to influence his vote, like, no, the people are speaking, I can't do anything but what the people want. If that was the goal, sorry, and I don't know if it is or not, but I can see from that perspective, if they were given information by what they would call very smart and learned people, we've got information you don't kind of people. Looking at it from that perspective there, I can see where they could go to the fullest extent to actually have people rioting in the streets. We will not accept this vote. We don't believe it to be true from the information that they had on the gleaning surface at the time. Because like I said, some of these stories hadn't been falsified yet. And they thought they had some kind of, magical wand power in the president and the vice president. They didn't, but they thought they did. Like I said, if that was, from some learned interpretation of a law that needs to be clarified, then, kind of like the Confederacy on that, I can agree with their succession on having to do what they want to do. It's a problem.
Several people should have known better, but apparently did not, or said nothing.
Yeah, I've got to find that. And I've yet to see that. I've seen it all the way to the point. Yes, we can influence the vote all the way to this point, even as misguided as that was. And if we can show that it was some misguided interpretation, such as the whole electoral thing, that was just a misinterpretation with somebody not reading far enough into it to get the full details, then you can see where they can get that type of information to base this idea on that they need to act. Unfortunately, I think it's false. We've shown that to be false. So, yeah, the winners get to dictate that. And if we're calling that an insurrection, okay. It did interfere with the proceedings that were going on in there. So, yeah, I can't dispute it. That's why I still I don't think it was an intended.
It checked all the boxes of every fascist coup there's ever been.
I don't think it was intended. I think it was an accidental pop.
Accidental fascism?
Yeah, an accidental discharge.
Premature ejaculation of fascism?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm fine. We're calling it an insurrection and an attempt to kill. Okay, the winners write the rules, and I'm good with that.
Had it gone their way, I guarantee you who would have won: the fascists.
Then the rules have been clarified into this is how we did it. This is how we'll be able to do it again.
Again and again and again.
Or this is how we did it. This is how we will never get done again. One of the two would have happened, But they didn't win, and now we've got information that shows we're glad they didn't win.
Like I said, I can be proven wrong tomorrow.
But I still hold to the point that if you have that kind of fucking falsifiable evidence, we have a way to investigate something that that big of a population has a fucking loss of faith in. That is that important to the societal function of this nation that we have. We need to stop what the fuck we're doing and investigate it, not bicker about it until the results are in, and then we can start.
Yeah, and that's
by the way, we have found a Dominion voting machine that has flipped fucking votes in a particular county that was in fucking question at the time.
Yeah, I know.
Hello.
I know. But at the end of the day, with it, I feel like again, it's
maybe this shit should have been investigated in it. Then we could have had an actual fucking vote again, and then everybody would have been happy with it because we wouldn't have used these fucking machines that have now been found to actually flip a fucking vote.
I can fairly say that I can be proved wrong tomorrow.
It was one fucking election. It was a small town fucking election. It's only one fucking event. Hasn't been repeatable, but that event happened. We need to test it and find out if it's repeatable.
Yeah. But, tomorrow morning I can turn on the TV and find out that I'm wrong, right? That everybody actually believed that the election was stolen and that it was not part of a long-term coup. I can be proven wrong.
I can be proven wrong too. You show me evidence, I change my mind.
Yeah, and I think as we go, I can be proven wrong on that. But I can say with apparently one of my autism things is fucking looking at history with it. And I cannot see, when I look at previous fascist coup attempts and successful and failures, I see all the same pieces in motion, right? I see all the same things. And again, I'm a pessimist, but I'm usually...
You see that in every election, though.
And that's part of the reason I don't trust them. But this one to me feels like more so than the others. It feels like an attempted fascist coup, like ones I've seen before. Not personally, but I've read about, I've studied on. When it comes to overthrowing governments, I've always been into it. And this is the way it happens a lot. I mean, all the boxes are there, all the boxes are checked. Like I said, I could be wrong tomorrow, and I'll apologize to Rudy Giuliani, and I'll even go out and buy one of the My Pillows.
No, all the boxes are there for some fringe little one of these third-rate political parties to rise up with some crazy different ideology that's radicalized, different from what we've got, and actually gain some fucking traction.
Maybe that'd be interesting.
Or somebody to radicalize one that we already have.
I would like to see something completely different.
Because nobody likes what we have.
Yeah.
And now we've lost faith in it. At least a large chunk of the population has.
I only had faith in it till I could read. And then that was pretty much over. That's the end of that.
So, and about the end of this, because we're at about the end of the damn story. So, well, at least that part of it.
To things that we can guess about what's going to happen next with Trump, but it's always
Unfortunately, his story is continuing.
Constantly.
I guess when we actually find out whether or not history is going to show this to be an insurrection and he had actual part in it, we'll find out if he's going to be able to hold office and whether or not he's holding office from a jail cell.
Nothing
to do.
There's some things the founding fathers just didn't think about. They just didn't think about that. It didn't seem logical to them that this could happen. And they would have been right.
Well, they put in the insurrection.
It's extremely unlikely.
Well, the founding fathers didn't think about it for some reason, but after we amended it shortly after the Civil War.
Whether or not you could run the presidency from a jail cell.
Well, if you were involved in something as serious as an insurrection. But whether a criminal could actually run for office, I mean...
He hadn't been convicted of crimes yet, has he?
That's what I'm saying. An actual criminal that's active at the moment, no. After you've had your rights restored, you should be able to. All rights, once you've earned your rights back.
I can go vote, but I can't own a gun.
Yeah.
I don't want one, but
the fact that you can't, it's a problem.
It does bug me. Yeah.
And I commend you on the fact that you don't want one, then that's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not fighting for you to have one. I'm fighting for your right to have one
if I so choose. Yeah. I'm with you there.
I'm fighting against the government telling you can't. That's my whole problem is the government telling me I can't when it clearly told me I can.
I don't want one. I shouldn't have one, but you can't tell me I can't have one. I feel the same about Iran and nuclear weapons. They shouldn't have one. We don't want them to, but I don't feel like we can tell them they can't.
All the dollars don't fucking matter when your whole fucking classification of firearms discludes the classification of firearms. Thank you, by the way.
So...
we'll catch up on another episode with the next saga of Trump sometime in the fucking future, maybe. And again, on that NASCAR thing, if you're really pissed off about it and you're still here for some fucking reason, say something about it.
Cry about it. I agree that it is for stupid poor people.
Yeah, say what you want about it. So let's talk about it.
Some of my problems are the same problems I have with baseball.
Oh, God.
We could do like a whole mini series on sports because I hate them all. Some less than others.
Yeah, I definitely don't have a favorite sports team.
No, I don't have a favorite sports team. I will sit and watch a hockey game.
I don't do sports ball,
but I'm not really there for the game. I'm there for the food and the cold room.
Again, like NASCAR, I used to be big into football, American football.
Man, I tried so hard. You know what? And you know what really fucked up football for me? 9/11. 9/11 ruined football for me. Because after 9/11, the next several Super Bowls were won by the Patriots, who I had never even really heard of before 9/11, right? And I couldn't help but feel like it was rigged.
Mine was Green Bay and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I couldn't help but
last game.
I couldn't help but feel like the whole thing was rigged. It felt like propaganda that the Patriots were winning the Super Bowl.
When the best quarterback in the motherfucking league is hitting the numbers of the fucking defensive backs.
I mean, well,
he ain't throwing aerial passes. This motherfucker's hitting them dead in the chest.
And so I tried though to get into football early on. And I couldn't do it, man.
Wait a minute. Somebody's paying him to do this shit.
And then when I thought maybe I could get into it, just maybe, I started feeling like it was rigged because 9/11 happened and Toby Keith happened. And then, everything was patriotism this, patriotism that. And you mean the Patriots it couldn't be a coincidence, right?
Patriots wasn't even a fucking thing back in my day.
Yeah. Call me crazy. But I still feel like it was on purpose.
I didn't even start looking to the Northeast for a fucking actual damn team, man, until fucking Theismann got taken out.
I don't know shit, man. Even when I was trying to watch, I just enjoyed it for the sport.
Shit. Fuck you, Dallas boys.
Washington Redskins, go fuck yourself. Well, I guess next time we'll be here, we'll be talking about immigration.
Probably.
More than likely.
Maybe, just depending on how many comments we get. Fucking NASCAR.
Maybe, yeah. Or sports. Debate me, bro.
Fuck sports. Y'all guys are idiots.
They make too much money, for one.
Complain about it.
Complain about it.
I don't like any. I don't like. This is one of the things. I hate every fucking body involved in every avenue of sports outside of non-income driven sportsmanship.
Yeah, just playing for fun.
Playing for fun, playing for the the Olympics. If it wasn't monetized to shitting back, I would be. Yeah, we got to do
Even
that.
Magic, man. I like playing Magic, but I don't really like playing in the tournaments. Except for I want to play against these other decks, but I don't like that level of competition like that.
Yeah,
I don't perform well under it. You know?
right, but I'm fine with having it.
Sure,
And having
I hate it.
and having it as something that would be a popular venue for people to say, hey, I want to participate in this on a world sport level. Wonderful. I don't hate sport in the umbrella of sportsmanship as sport itself. I like competition. I'm competitive in some aspects. I play games. I like to win in the games. I play DayZ. I like to fucking shoot people. I like to win when I fucking get into a PvP combat thing.
Yeah.
I race. I like to win in the race. I used to play wrestling in video games back in the day when wrestling was hot shit, and I rooted for my favorite wrestler. I'd fucking wrestle in the games. I like to win. I like to be competitive on things. So I can transcribe that. I used to play track and field in high school, and, so I was on a competitive level a little bit. But as far as playing a game and then having people go absolutely ape shit to pay large amounts of money, to pay me large amounts of money, so a lot of people can make a large amount of money on advertising because I'm playing the fucking game. So this guy can make a lot of money to get your dumb ass in here to pay me a lot of fucking money to play this damn game. What the fuck?
Yeah, man.
And y'all falling for that.
It's a racket. It's extortion. And it's so weird. And then there's the gambling aspect.
And you wonder why you can't afford the payment on your house.
And then there's fantasy football. Fantasy football gambling. That is the craziest shit. That is
I actually agree with that more than I do the actual fucking sport of football. It's closer to fucking
play
D&D.
Magic.
It's closer to fucking D&D.
We play RPG.
So, yeah, I actually agree with that. I would gamble. I used to play with Ante and Magic. I gambled away cards and shit. I've bet money on games. I've done it on chess games out in parks. I've done it at the college campuses. I actually did go to community college, so I actually had a legitimate reason. One time I was on there.
I was mostly there for girls and drugs.
Well, that was NC State. I didn't attend.
That's why I went. I wasn't attending. I was there.
$100 on Hillsborough Street back in the day.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, college campus, you can but bet money on an outcome of. I wish it was more intellectual shit instead of fucking physical shit.
Yeah, I actually, dude, I spend a lot of time listening to like intellectual debates and shit about multitude of things, man. And
I wish as a society we were more.
Yeah, and I get into it in the way I guess people get into sports, right? I have my favorite debaters and my favorite topics. So I can understand it to a degree, but I think, I'm not going to go so far as to call myself an intellectual, but I enjoy intellectual pursuits, right? I enjoy intellectual
game shows
activity.
like Jeopardy and shit were
Yeah, I
way
don't
more
even hate
popular.
those.
I wish they were way more popular and more spread out throughout the genres instead of just quiz shows about random knowledge. About who knows?
Yeah, man.
Let's go into specific knowledge. Who knows the most about fucking atomic science? Who knows the most about whatever fucking subject we can think about? Who knows the most about whatever? Do math quizzes and shit. And, hell, do it on a mass public scale. Put out fucking math problems.
Yeah, I mean, and we do have like academic triathlon shit out there. You know what I mean?
It needs, yeah,
But it should be more popular, right? Yeah, I think so, man. Because too many people are dumb. You know what I mean? And intellectualism is frowned upon. Even it's I got picked on for being smart.
It is.
You know, like I said, I ain't gonna go so far as to call myself an intellectual because I'm fucking crazy. You know, but at the same time, I enjoy intellectual pursuits. You know, I commend them. I actually think that the world would be better off if we gave more value to people who just sat around and thought about shit and debated shit. Because look what it did for Greece. You know what I mean? Look what we still celebrate democracy. It's a little bit different than what they had. But I mean, all these, we still live in a world that was built by people who were appreciated in their own time to just sit around and think about things and argue, with each other intellectually. And that's been taken away from us as a species, honestly.
No, we charge too much to gain access.
Well, there's a paywall there, right? I mean, and to actually have the accolades. Like I listen to debates. I could do all kinds of debates, right? But what are my accolades? I don't have any accolades behind it. It's from Trust Me Bro University.
Right. That's why I'm not standing on the street corner preaching knowledge, is because I don't have the background to show them the knowledge that I'm preaching is actually rooted in anything I've actually studied.
It's like, dude, I do a lot of research and my mind changes.
I didn't actually study. I live in the world of fucking Google. I fucking follow on the coattails of greatness. I don't have to know everything about fucking astrology. I have access to people that are willing now to
I can listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Absolutely.
Right? And to me that's something we need more of, man.
We do.
What I mean? It's like there's an Islamic guy, a Muslim guy he has his own YouTube channel. He does a lot of like debates and stuff like that. And while I disagree with Islam as a whole, I respect this guy a lot. I actually seek out his debates.
Sadly, there's too damn many of them that I go to actually Patreon to any of them, so I don't skip ads. I listen to my ads, so you get monetary results.
Yeah.
All of you.
But I listen. His name's Muhammad Hijab, and to me, what makes him special is he knows Islam
but
in a way.
Support any of these minds, folks, go do something.
Yeah, he understands Islam in a way I'll never be able to. Right? I'm not going to learn Arabic. You know what I'm saying? So even though I disagree with him on what his views are, when it comes to expressing those views and whatnot, I consider him to be the speaker for Islam. You know what I'm saying? If I want to know something about Islam and what the Quran says, I trust what this man says. If I want to know what something an astrophysicist is, going on in physics, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I want to listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. If I want to know what's happening in biology, I want to listen to Richard Dawkins or, I want to listen to these people who are, people who excel in their fields. People who actually know what they're talking about. I'll listen to them debate all day long because, sometimes they're wrong. You know what I mean? And to me, that when you listen to a debate, you hear both sides of these arguments. And, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to go with what you feel. But, there's something to be said for having
basing on information that we think may have more credits than other information, that none of it has been proven one way or the other.
Right. It's... Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get down in the lap? Getting visited by one of the kitties. The absolute king of them all. I'm trying to give you more lap, but it ain't working.
Yo, Jira.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh. But yeah, folks,
we'll definitely carry on the rabbit hole that Will has, and definitely will open up more that has come from this discussion at later podcasts, of course. So tune into the futures, folks, and if you like it, definitely support it. And again, support all the other great minds that are sharing their knowledge and putting it out there to the world for you, especially if they are a master in their field.
Yep, definitely. Always support smart people. If they know what they're talking about, support them. So yeah, you can find us all the places you're listening to us. You can check the description of the show for a link to our link tree page, which will give you all our links
We're
except
definitely
for
more informed than Alex Jones, by the way.
yeah. At least as informed as Alex Jones.
No, we go more than 2 pages deep on our conspiracy theory, thank you.
Yeah, I will examine them from all sides. I want to know about the unicorns that stole those votes.
Just because I can justify something doesn't mean I'll actually do it.
I really want to hear more about the unicorn that stole the votes.
That. See, that's all he wanted was his bath.
Oh, God. Yeah, so I have this long-haired cat who likes to go, we have a bathtub that won't stop dripping. And he'll go under there and get his head wet and then come to me or Mike for us to pet him and give him a bath with his wet head. He does it often enough that it's clear that this is his intention. But yeah, also in the descriptions will be a link to our coffee page or Ko-Fi.
Coffee.
Coffee.
What I've heard it pronounced as is coffee.
Yeah. And based on my understanding, it's something similar to Patreon. Except it gives us more direct, more of the money goes to us than when you donate to Patreon. So yeah, if you enjoy our stuff, like, subscribe, leave comments, email us at stonerspodpod@gmail.com. You can join our Patreon, you can join our coffee, you can join both. I'd be cool with that.
And if you'd rather give it direct, just tell us which way you'd rather give, and we've probably got a way to do that, be it PayPal or do it Venmo.
Yeah, you can email us with anything, be it
topic. But don't give because we're saying give only if you like it and you actually give a shit, you know?
He wants to be able to do it on a more consistent basis. Yeah. Let me see, I think that was everything.
That should be about everything. We'll catch you on the next one. Just let us know what you want in future episodes, folks.
Yeah, you can send us emails again at stonerspointpod@gmail.com.
We talk about kids getting shot in schools. We're not afraid of anything.
We'll talk about any subject. There's things I don't like to, I hesitate to talk about.
Yeah, we talk about religion.
Oh, I'm not hesitant to talk about religion.
Oh, I hate it, but I liking it.
They talk about me plenty, so it's... All right, well, guys, I guess try not to vote for any fascists. Don't listen to the lying press. Instead of making America great again, let's try to make the world a better place for once. And
I like that.
Fuck around and find out.